relationships to Reddit threads. From what the hell do you said what? It's unfiltered, uncut, yeah, that's the show. Yeah, welcome to Let's Be Real, though.
Welcome back to Let's Be Real, though, with Brandon J. Benfield, a podcast and a YouTube channel. I am Brandon J. Benfield. Well, hey guys, we have a real treat for you today. I told you the story before about how I started working in conventions in 2012, 2013-ish, and that I started working with all sorts of different actors and conventions and vendors and anybody else that needed artwork done. And this obviously evolved into working with Ranger Stop. Ranger Stop has been a big part of my formative years in becoming just a better artist, but as well as being an agent and everything else. Because in 2019, I remember telling you guys that Michael Bioni, the owner of Ranger Stop, and myself, we were having a conversation one day, and we said, "Hey, how can we make this convention better?" And at this point, there had only been a couple of actors that had come to, Power Morphicon and a couple that came to Lexington and such, but really Ranger Stop hadn't had as much for international guests. And so I had kind of come up with this idea with Mikey, and I said, "Hey, why don't we rally up some of our most diehard fans, our biggest contributors to this convention, ones that attend every year, and just see if they want to donate, $200 or $300 to sponsoring. Let's try 4 different international guests, because as you know, as Power Ranger fans know, the series moved to New Zealand, filming in season 11 out of 30. So the first 10 seasons were filmed in LA, and then the last 11 seasons, 11 through 30, were filmed in New Zealand. So obviously, in moving the production there, it brought a lot of acting economy to New Zealand. They still casted actors from New York, America and Canada, and even had some from Europe. Like I know season 15 had some European Rangers, a couple. But anyway, so primarily though, when they would pull New Zealand actors or Australian actors, they typically, that would be their, 1 year, whatever, and that would be it. So anyway, with that came the fandom here in the United States, and we at that point hadn't really gotten too many here for the fans to meet. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's try to bring 4 of these actors over. We ended up that year bringing 8, which is pretty awesome. It was double the amount that we thought we would have. And in that time was when I began my relationship with a man by the name of John Toohey. For those who don't know, John Toohey played the SPD Shadow Ranger and the Mystic Force Solaris Knight, sort of like a special, like a leader, mentor ranger for SPD, and kind of that special ranger for Mystic Force. But John's career really took off after that. He went on to play Bolg in The Hobbit, the orc leader in The Hobbit, The Battle of Five Armies. He went on to do some work in Star Wars. He's worked a lot with Dwayne Johnson in films such as The Fast and the Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. And he will be playing the chief in the upcoming 2026 live action film Moana. But since working with John on that show, on that 2019 convention, he and I have gotten significantly close. John is more of a personable guy than you would think. And not that you would think he wasn't, but he really likes to, if you're in his camp, if you're on his team, or if you're in his circle of friends, if you know him, he likes to video chat. And so our relationship kind of began there, and we were just talking 2 or 3 times a week, and really just grew this friendship. It blossomed into this brotherhood, and we had been talking about him coming to the Midwest for a long time now, because here we are 6 years later, and he just wrapped on Moana a few weeks ago. If you're watching this, it's early September 2025. If you're watching later on, but anyway, so when he wrapped on Moana, he flew up to New York to see some old castmates or an old castmate from Young Rock, and then he came over to Detroit to see little old me. He and his son Keon came over, his oldest son. Came over to Michigan. I picked him up in Detroit and showed him around Detroit. Took him to meet my mom, and he got to see where I grew up. He saw my house, my old childhood house, the one I grew up in. He saw my schools, my elementary school and junior high and high school. And then came back to Indiana. He had him at the Academy of Model Aeronautics, where I work in my day job, and got to fly some model airplanes. We took him to a gun range the next day. His son had never shot a firearm, so we went and took my 9mm to the range, and we got to, I get to instruct them on how to do that because I'm trained to do that. I did a signing at the Toy Pit down in Indianapolis. Shout out to those guys for having us, and we went to St. Louis and Chicago. We just did this big, huge Midwest loop. And then he returned home to New Zealand. But before going home and before we went on to our signings and stuff, he came here to the studio and sat down and had a real intimate conversation. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't want to, brag or boast, but he and his son were discussing, and they feel like this is one of the deepest, better podcasts and conversations that he's had. He got emotional in some parts. We had really fun just talking about bro stuff, but really, he set the tone for what I want this show to be. If you watch through it, I don't just ask typical questions like, what was it like working with Woody Harrelson? What was it like being a Power Ranger and able to morph? No, it was questions about, what are your, what was your family like growing up? What was it like to get a part on Star Wars, but then to be cut from it, from the theatrical release? That's kind of that. I mean, that would kill me, and I'm not even a Star Wars fan. So obviously, having that big, something like that big happen in your career, only to kind of watch it go away. We kind of talk about that. But we also obviously talk about good things. We talk about his successes and just some of the fun things that he's had with his family, and just kind of what he's like around home and whatnot. So, you know what, man, without further ado, I just want you to enjoy this interview and really take to heart what he has to say. And hopefully he's already said he wants to come back and do another one, maybe a few every time he rolls through town. So that'd be awesome. I'm not, and obviously I'll be available for that when he is, but hey, why don't we just go ahead and get into it? Why don't we, let's be real with John Toohey.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, man. So on this trip, you've been let's see. So you went from Atlanta to New York, and then you were in New York for 4 days, and then Detroit
Yeah.
for we went up to Detroit the other day.
Passed through Detroit on the way down.
You saw Battle Creek, Michigan. And now we're here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, baby.
oh yeah. So this is cool, I guess for us too, because we're, it's not just like a fan thing. I'm just having you on my show. It means a lot that you're, my first guest in studio, because you and I have a history together. I've been to New Zealand twice, met your family, got a real nice picture with the Toohey family. Yesterday, you met my mom, you met my sister, saw my hometown. I got to see where you're from. So, I mean, it's really been cool, the stuff that we've got to share.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a journey since leading up in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, over in Orlando.
Yeah.
Was my first Power Ranger convention, and we reached out to me on Facebook when I still had Facebook.
Instagram. Was it this? There was Instagram, yeah. So I've actually got the first message that I ever sent you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I said, hey, John, first of all, sorry, sorry, let me say it. And so, hey, John, I work for Ranger Stop Convention Orlando, one of the biggest Power Ranger cons in the United States. A few of the core fans have rallied together to fly some overseas Rangers over, to join us in these American conventions, basically. So I'm curious because, you keep such a small circle, both professionally and your social circles.
Yeah.
What I'm just curious, like in our first interaction over social media, like what kind of made you um say yes to me and, kind of reach out to me?
I've had a few people reach out about deleting these ones, and at the time, wasn't anything that was on my radar in my life at the time. Yeah, and I think I had just finished shooting a movie, The Savage, in 2018.
Yep. And I believe Hobbs and Shaw had just come out that year too. Around then.
Yeah. So I shot Savage, and then did Hobbs and Shaw, then set up Traumatic to You, and then after that I did Baron.
Yeah. Because you were at the premiere of Hobbs and Shaw when you sent me video promotions for
Yeah. And at the time I felt really. Here are times that I want to do anything because I'm not working, and in my career it's those are the quiet times. So what you do in the trees, mentally I don't really care. Yeah, as much, and that's why I was really grateful to go there. And then the reception that I had in Orlando was also getting to meet everybody and then seeing how much of an impact that my work on Rangers has been for these fans. Have been big loyal. Yeah. After seeing that, then making a bit of money over there too. I was sitting there from a business perspective and from a Power Ranger fan base. With me not being part of it, and then being there and witnessing it was awesome. And kind of I'll do as many cons as I can when I can. Yeah, I'm pretty open about that. I'm pretty honest. Yeah. Yeah, and I had a great time there. Caught up with some old friends. Yep. But I got to see how this thing that you guys are part of works. Right?
But more like, I guess deeper than that, you kind of brought me somewhat like onto your team, like of people that kind of help you out and stuff. And again, that's just kind of something that takes a lot of trust. You don't let a lot of people into your style,
Especially in this industry.
Yeah. And I guess I'm just curious, like, what stood out about me that you knew I wasn't just trying to take from you or take advantage and, really want to start like a multi-professional and personal friendship, because we did end up doing that. Like we were talking every day, like every other day on video chat. I mean, we got pretty tight that first year.
Well, the relationship works is we're pretty honest with each other, right? And even if we disagree, we still, would have our mutual respect for each other. It worked when we met. So I said, do you want to represent me for these things? And let's travel and make money and be part of getting back to the fans. Yeah, because that was my first time seeing a lot of old friends who I haven't seen in 20, 15 years. So yeah, but I think we just clicked. Man, I keep my circle small because, I've had a lot of, I haven't tried too many people now, this age. And, it's all about uplifting each other and that's Korean. Yeah, no. I've seen the good and the bad. Yeah. And at the ripe age of 50, it's time for the fake people. Yeah, no. Or to see these anywhere. Yeah, man. If it works, right?
Yeah. Now, do you feel like, I'm just kind of curious, like, just kind of diving deeper, like at the beginning of your career or like with like your friendships and everything, do you feel like there were people like in your past that like, made you feel kind of, it was making it hard to trust, like,
the one thing I've discovered, and, I've got accounts, I've seen it through the years, especially in the latter year of the latter stage of my career, is not everyone can handle how you are, who you are sometimes, and it makes them react in a weird way. And I'm used to dealing with a lot of haters, bro. You know, I've had it, since I was a kid. From I don't know. It I grew up very extrovert. Yeah. I was very confident. I did everything in the arts. Like I choreographed dance groups, did a lot of hip hop dancing as part of choirs. I was always active in the performing field. Yeah. My mum was, and since I was a kid, we had always taught my sisters to do dance, which is ta'aluma, which is like a Tongan tradition dance. So performance in the theater and the limbs of stage and performance was always something ingrained in us. And I think that's also from that culture being a Tongan. Yeah. And a Polynesian. So what was the question? Or just when you're there?
Oh, just basically how, like, do you feel like trust issues started earlier in your career or in your personal circles? Or like,
I think we've all been betrayed at some point. Yeah. And the friends that I have around me, people I don't have to, when they leave me and we're apart, I don't feel drained from that I've been given. Yeah. Or trying to, I have a small, eclectic group of people in my life that I stay in contact with in that house. Me continue doing what I do. Yeah. But I go out there and then do a lot of actory stuff. I'll then hang out with a lot of actors. I've done that early in my career. But I've had a lot of friends that like I said, the kind of draws of fire, and those who kind of give you energy when you're around them are the ones that you keep in your circle alive with you. Yeah, it's all about elevating each other. But if you're just there and you're a taker, which is a lot of people around there, yeah. Well, relationships are based on what they can do. I want to be around people that uplift them. Yeah. I uplift them. Yeah. And lately being a father, I don't really care much about being social. Yeah, no.
well, that's kind of too, like, that's how when we were initially connected, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going to come to somebody like you, more like an actor, and you're like, hey, I want to work with you on this, you've got to be smart on your approach, because you don't want to make it look like you're taking from somebody. You want to kind of bring it to them. It's like, all right, how will this benefit you first? But then also, like, from me to you, like, how will this benefit you? Kind of take yourself out of it and like say, hey, how can I make it worth it for this guy? But then also, how can I make it worth it for both of us? Like, you've got to think about, in my case, for example, or like say a conventions case or something, like even if somebody's, wanting you to be a part of something, it's got to be worth your time. You know what I mean? We've kind of talked about that a little bit too.
Yeah, time's important. Like, don't waste my time.
Right.
And I won't waste yours. Yeah. Right? So I don't have time for small talk. When we do these things, we're always like, what I expect. Yeah, from you. Right? And for me, I know what to go. Yeah. And, I've, at the few conventions that I've been to, but also interacting with a lot of guests, I start seeing things. I see how people treat each other. Yep. Right? And our Power Ranger community is a very diverse group of people, with different abilities, and I don't like to call it anything else but different. We're just different, and we have a love for one thing. But I love being a Power Ranger, right? I love it. It was the first breakthrough in my career. They gave me a chance to see how the industry was, and especially from an American perspective, where it was Disney, and I've seen it growing up. But Power Rangers was never in New Zealand. Except from 1 year. We had 1 year where it was shown in New Zealand, and then it was gone. But the franchise has been filming in New Zealand. It's really big locations, and I've been using a lot of Kiwi actors, which keeps a lot of Kiwis employed. That was a really good thing. Yeah, about it for being filmed. For me, it was my first gig. I came out of Aiki School 2003. I was, and then still in construction. I'm mainly painting. I was painting with my mentor who ran a business, and I was auditioning within that year. I was obsessed with staying lean because, fat on pretty cool, bulk up pretty fast. And then booked the first season of Power Rangers, the first Doggy Kruger, SPV, 2004, 2005. And then instead of getting into a lot of TV work that was available in New Zealand, I booked at Disney Parks, and I thought I was in the door. And then I got the second year, I got to play another character. So 2 years in a row, right? Yeah, making good money. But well, if you bring me back, I'll take it in the question.
Yeah.
Take me back to
so because you mentioned your sisters. How many siblings do you have?
the oldest of nine.
Okay, so you're the oldest of 9. So I'm just curious because here in America, at least, or anywhere really, if you go to your parents and say, "Mom, Dad, I want to be an actor," that 9 times out of 10 look at you and laugh at you in the face because it's like, it's almost kind of like a pipe dream here. But how was that in New Zealand? I was gonna say, how was that in your household? Was it ever like, oh, funny, John, or were they very supportive of it? Like, no, how was that with that?
Polynesians who immigrated to New Zealand from the islands. My parents are from Tonga. Had that dream but it was sort of like this, the standard black and white. There's no gray area. You would be a doctor, you can be a lawyer. When you're something really successful, because we moved here, give you this opportunity in this fine Western country to build and make a living for yourself. So they had that on me. Just do anything, teaching, a career. But I dropped out of uni. I tried to be a teacher. I studied to be a teacher, and I didn't. I was just falling behind and work, and I was more focused on the socializing and the sports events that were held at university. I was a bit more reckless, and just the way that it was taught, I wasn't that smart at it, and I wasn't passionate about it. I dropped out.
Yeah,
and then went to acting school because I reached a point in my life where I was in a pretty toxic relationship at the time, and I was studying not for me to be this thing for not just for my parents, but also for some type of status in my early 20s, right? And then I had this epiphany. I've got a brother who's disabled, and I remember telling him. He was the first person I told. I said to him, I'm going to pursue acting. Yeah. There's nothing else. All my friends, God bless their hearts, were doing what we've all been taught, and that was to do a laboring job of some sort. You had no qualifications, and if you didn't have any qualifications, like, the laboring store jobs or whatever, construction was always available to you. And I grew up watching my dad labor for 35 years in different jobs. He was a cleaner. I was a cleaner with him. A store packer. He worked for a drink companies, plastic companies. I grew up knowing hard work as well with him. But the expectation of a lot of us who are first generation Kiwis from parents who immigrated from the islands, that the pressure to succeed was massive. And I talked about this when I shot Barrett Dog. It was about legacy, the immigrant movement, and then the legacy of their first generation children. How do they? Okay, so, and now being the oldest of 9, I was also had the pressure of succeeding in some way, form, or fashion. So when I dropped out of uni, it was embarrassing. Yeah, it was very. My parents, not just for them, but for me as well. So what are you good? Right. I remember telling my brother Sika, love you, Sika. It's my disabled brother. I said, he's my brother. He was hit by a car at the age of 4, and that accident changed our lives forever. Yeah. And it definitely changed mine. Yeah, you know what I mean? And if I was to tie this into my love for the Power Ranger community, because I have a brother who I've looked up, who myself and my parents and my siblings, that being there and assisted him throughout his life. I knew what it was like to be judged because I've seen it, society towards my brother. And that's what everyone made. Not as much as family or society, where the under in his body is contorted in Moana. We can see his physical disability.
Was he the second oldest, you said?
He's the second oldest boy. Okay, yeah. So I'm the oldest. I've got another sister, and and then I've got a sister under her who died in Tonga when I was 6, 7. She died in the accident. She broke her neck. I have another then Sika. and then my other sister, Nina, and then Nawab, and then I have another brother called Kudus, Josh, after. Yeah, this is not a mystery. You want to talk about it? Okay. So there's me, then there's Fita, then there's Simina, who passed, Sika, who was born, and then Simina, who was named after my sister that passed, she's there, and then my brother Fono, who's named after my granddad, then Mona, and then Kudus.
Okay. Well, yeah, because you'd be 9. So
Yeah.
So with you,
I know, I'm looking at me.
so when like the other siblings came along, after Sika, was it hard for them to understand that he was
So
disabled?
thank you for asking that. I was never mentioned here. Was it? They all grew up with him being disabled. Physically and visually, they'd known him that way all their life.
I just was curious because, like,
For me, my connection with my brother is the tightest.
of course,
He is like me and him, because he was, we grew up, we bathed together, we played out together. He was able, he got hit by that car, and he lived, right? My dad tried to pick a car, and his body was twisted and he had brain damage, but he's still fine. It's just his body.
Yeah.
But in saying that, like, I saw how society treated him, and it wasn't bad, but I saw the beauty in people and how they wanted to assist them and help them. But I also saw that sympathy that they had. It was like, oh, he poor. And people always assume that he's mentally disabled as well, because he sounds a different kind. Man, man's, numerous.
So as somebody who grew up in New Zealand, where there's not necessarily like fandom, right? Here it's good.
Harmful Power Rangers.
Well, just anything. No, because like people, I mean, like they look at acting almost as like another job, not like one of those things where they're like, they see you on the street, or they see like Jared Turner or Antonio Preble on the street. They're not like, can I get an autograph? That's not like the society down there.
Yeah, you can kind of see that when you came down, right?
Right. So like what is the appeal, I guess, of being an actor in New Zealand? Like, is it viewed differently because, there's not like crazy, like, I mean, you can still go to Denny's down there, and people won't say hi or, whatever.
Bro, it's a bit, but for me now, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
But we see actors and they're like, oh yeah, this is, but I can't stand being cold anymore, because I don't get I get the kids that are out there who, it's just, people can't help it, bro. They always want to, bridge up and flex and test. So that's why I do certain things at certain times, try to move quietly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I've been in situations where I've had to walk away because it's the right thing to do. And every time I used to bite my lip or, walk away, the warrior, he dies. I keep saying that to him, boy, it's tough. But I've got to be smart because, if anything happens, and I don't know why, bro. And I think it's people saying it's just that they want to pull you down or say something and give a reaction. Right? They just want to remind you don't think you're as good as you think you are.
Yeah.
They,
Well, there's also nothing wrong with being a recluse and like just be at home with your family. You know what I mean? Even if you weren't an actor.
but the famous you are, you search for normality. And the more normal you are, you're searching for fame.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I see it, bro. I see it with these influencers. I see it with content creators. And some of them are really good. Some of them make you laugh. And some of them I sit there and just watch it. Do you know what you're giving up? Showing us everything.
Yeah.
Like, this is a soap opera that I love to watch, but no matter how famous, like Friends or Game of Thrones, it comes to end.
Yeah.
And like, I think people don't understand that the social media yearning for validation of likes and to be famous, it comes at a price.
Right.
And I'm saying this from, being a professional actor. Just because I look like this, right? I know how people think about how I should behave, but I'm a professional actor, man. I'm going to take quite some. They'll see people go through depression. Yeah, we'll touch on that later, right?
Yeah.
But with these people that are out there, just doing their all and everything out there, like, I can see talent, and then I see exploitation, either oneself or their family or their friends, or the unknowing public. It's hard to navigate now because everyone's got a phone, everyone's got an opinion. I remember watching a Denzel. Hey, But you made this comment about truly what have you done? Where's the talent, or what's your craft? But I think, I'm also old school, so I think to another degree. Yeah, and those who know me out there in the industry know I'm pretty well okay. I don't try that. I'd rather my work speak for itself.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting, like the personas that people have about actors, whether they are trying to be one or they're, trying to like define one. And what I mean by that is it's weird because, you've got, like you just said, the people that are influencers that are trying to be as famous as old Hollywood, but they want a virtue signal and make sure that everybody knows that they're doing these things and they want the credibility for it on social media. But then at the same time, it's like, there are people's perceptions of celebrities. Like, for example, when the Palisade fires happened, and you saw so many comments on social media that are like, "Oh, well, they've got oodles of cash and just an abundance of money. They could just buy themselves a new house or build themselves a new." And it's just not the case. They don't understand that acting is almost like an independent contractor job where you're literally going from one contract to another. It's not like a steady 9 to 5 here in like the Midwest. So, you know, that's actually something I wanted to bring up too. Is like, do you feel as an actor sometimes, is it ever hard for you to like feel the stability, or is it one of those things where, because a lot of people, they don't necessarily understand money management when it comes to like actors and such. So like, do you have to, is it one of those things where it's like, if you have a job in the industry, do you have to like know how to save your money right, when to spend it, like how does that work for you specifically, I guess,
What are you asking?
So like, because like I said, people like, they just assume that
The actors are rich.
actors are rich.
So there is no job where you're compared to the top echelon. Right? So people who are watching film and TV, the top echelon for us is the A-listers, which is we already know they are, right?
Yeah.
They're the top Hollywood actors.
Yeah.
We're compared to them all the time.
Yeah.
There is a whole B and C list of actors who have been working for so many years who do the supporting roles, who just want to work.
Yeah.
They just want to work, man. That's why when I deal with actors who act like divas, I say, you're going to have to quit, man.
Yeah.
All right, get it. And get it. Like, some of these celebrities are treated like gods, so should we blame them for starting to act like gods? And,
Right.
But then it's hard for people to be normal when they have fame thrust upon them. We were thrown into a movie, and I did Battleship, and I thought I'd made it, and I wasn't prepared for that, so I had to deal with the pressure. Yeah. After that's why I keep talking about these people who are out there creating so much content, and your life becomes about what can I constantly put out there, but you're so profitable, it will come to an end. You know what I mean? So you plan for, and anyone who makes a lot of money out there, like they're way wealthier than me, right? I've had people come up to me and go, bro, thought you were in LA, thought you're living overseas. I'm like, I'm still living here.
Right.
My parents are here. My brother and my parents are still alive. So I've never wanted to just fly back to Bering. Yeah. And I thought, well, since we can shoot South tapes, if I book this thing, I'll go away, right? But I'm saying, in terms of the money, it's good when you're working consistently. TV series are good because it's like a good amount of cash. There's a lot of money in TV, and if you get the seasons rolling, I've been on 3 seasons of Young Rock. Was a Power Ranger for 2 years. Or, if you're on a show for like 6 years or 6 years plus, like you can really make some bank. And then if you're avid in property or whatever, you can think about their investment, or what you do. A lot of actors fall bankrupt because they're trying to live a life like some artists that are out there who are living beyond their means, right? Trying to fall to. So that's why, man, that's not me. Yeah, that's not me. I'm not. I dress as a bro. Yeah. And what do you mean? Yeah, you say.
Yeah, like
he does, like a bum. Well, for me, I don't have that chromosome, bro. I don't care.
But you want to be comfortable. I'm like you. I mean, obviously, I'm wearing track pants and a t-shirt.
I don't care. Yeah. Like I've seen people flossing out there. They're flossing hard, like they're somebody. Yeah. And then I look at it, I was like, man, You're hiding a lot there, bro. Like, it's a hard act to keep up that you're successful and you're wealthy.
Yeah.
And those who do, like, I can stand back and go, I don't mind being judged for how I look and stuff. I work out. Yeah, but no, I'm 50, right? I still push 3 plates, squat 4. Like, who does that? Yeah, I'm 50. I just had a baby. So now I'm thinking more about longevity. I see people out there just giving everything these things. Yeah. And I've seen the best come and go. I've seen them come and go. Like in this industry, come and go. It's like in the Power Ranger community, right? Yeah. They came and they've stayed in that same box for 20 years, bro. Yeah. And, my thing is I'm an actor. Like I say that with a lot of pride. I studied this craft, so I didn't look like some hard-headed knucklehead who just came off a rugby field, or just like some big brown Pacific Islander looking bonga who just walked off a field. And it's like, I know how I look. Yeah. I know how I sound. And if we can package this into some type of character work, like, I'm there, man. I don't believe everyone should go to acting school with it, but you need to understand this craft in some way, in a form or fashion. Yeah. Like, if you're good at twerking and that's what you do through your likes and comments, and twerk away, man. At some point, twerk is going to dance. I think it's constantly evolving. Yeah. Keep working. I'm an actor. I'm an actor. Like it. And if we're so passionate about showing our differences, then there are some plus size mid-rank as well out there in the movies and film too.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I'm just curious because, for me and like for a lot of the other people who probably are watching or listening to this, they're listening and watching, they're doing their 9 to 5s. No, I'm just saying they're doing, like the people who are like podcast listeners, but they're like, they're always like, they're listening to this while they're doing their 9 to 5 jobs. People like me, we're used to that 9 to 5 paycheck every 2 weeks. It's like, that's where we know where our money's coming from. I'm just curious. And again, I would never be so rude to ask, how much money do you make? But like, for an actor who's in the business, how does it work? Like, I'm more curious about how you get paid. So like, let's say you get a contract, right? You're this part in this.
It's all different.
That's what I was curious. Like, do you get it all at once? Do they pay you like 2 weeks?
Like, for one series, I'll get paid episodic. Of course, yeah, they give me for a movie, it's a full contract, or either weekly, or there's a daily rate. Yeah, if you're a day player, it scans. The ones who, if you're an A-lister, that's what I say to people is, my family keep me grounded. So everything I do is based around me being a protector and provider for my fam. The other John used to chase. I used to chase that recognition and make your craft collect cash. Yep. Right? Turn your passion into paper. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can be passionate about doing and I am passionate about acting. I went and did this degree. I've been knocked out, but not bad, in auditions, like roles that I came close to getting and never got. And that's the thing that I talk about dealing with depression, is that not all actors are A-listers. That's what I've got to say. Yeah, everything I've auditioned for, I've fought for. Everything you see on TV, like, or film, I've auditioned to get that role. Yeah, nothing has been offered. Like, maybe now, hopefully, I'll get to be in a position where they just make offers and I've seen a body of work. But I fought for it. Yeah, like when I booked Moana, people don't get, like, just because I've worked with those people at BJ twice already, that was given to me. Yeah, I auditioned for it. I had to read for it. I came up against some really strong, powerful, great Sunnies. Yep. But then, could they act? Could they take direction? Could they put a soul into their performance? Yep. Could they be believable? Do they know where to hit the mark and to stand? Do they know what the frame is to deliver this line? Do they deliver the line? There's other things. Can they do dance? Can they dance? Can they do cultural dance? Do they know are they rhythmic? Do they have timing? Like, I had to tick so many boxes to book the show. Yep. All right. And then there are so many layers, and they might have a beautiful physique, great hair, you look the part, can't sing. Yeah. Sing like an angel, can't take direction. Might have two of the components needed to play Chief Story. Great looking, beautiful physique, tall, can sing, can't act, looks like a wooden robot. I've seen people come in there, they're loud, right? I've seen people come to this industry, man, come off the social media platform into this industry, loud, yeah, confident, swag. I'll give you a couple of lines in a scene and watch them turn the water on stage, bro. Yeah. Just like the Wicked Witch will basically eat right there and sit there and go, all of that doesn't mean anything anymore. All that muscle doesn't mean nothing because there's no soul in the performance. Yeah. And that's why I think AI is scary, right? But I think what separates man from beast is a soul. Yeah, then I think he can't. I mean, it's in the eyes, it's in everything, and makes us stick. But, I am scared of AI taking over the industry. That's scary. Hey, so going back to that, when I was doing the work for Chief Toy, there were layers. There's so many layers of doing character performances and stuff, which is why, you get some great looking people. Otherwise, this industry would be taken by models, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? One thing a co-star of mine said to me, she was like, your authenticity is what separates you from the herd. It's who you are outside of that. And then your profession is, right? But in terms of, there's just something, everyone can read the same line, but they'll all read it differently. Different intentions, different focus, given circumstances. You can play the same lineup, give you 10 different performances. And then, some actors are really good at actions, really good at loud theater dramas. It's like, that's why I try and do everything, so I can be good at everything. Yeah. But in my latter years, I've learned that I found my lane, bro. You know what I mean? Because in the first 10 years of my career, I was obsessed. You would ask my wife for me. I was obsessed with staying lean. I've done every diet. I've trained in so many different ways to look a certain way. And then now I'm getting this resurgence in my career. I'm playing the big role. Middle-aged, tall, big, brown, and handsome. No. But daddy. And then this is my thing. Yeah. Right? I don't care about being leading man anymore. Yeah. Because when I was younger, I was chasing that. And if there's a sense of entitlement that I think a lot of these younger people have in this industry where, it's not given to you. It really, if you have to be able to take rejection and then detach yourself from auditions straight after. Yeah, I don't talk about auditions. Nobody wants to hear it. You might mention a callback. Yeah, but when you get the part, then you can talk. Yeah, and I've been guilty of that all through the work. So you learned a lot. A lot of my answers will be from experience, like from John Lee or being a very kid.
Yeah. You don't want to, and I agree with you, because you don't want to, you have someone say, hey, what have you been working on lately? And then you say,
what's up?
Well, then also, you don't want to answer with, well, hey, I auditioned for Top Gun 5, and I almost got it by 2 guys.
And that's the story they told the barbecue, right? I was just talking about before. I met this dude at this one party in LA, and he just missed out on this role to another guy who became famous, and he'd been living that story for 20 years. So I had gone Satori there, and I'm going, man, that's his trauma. Really, yeah. Just don't talk about it. Just do it. Yeah. If you're trying to do it, don't talk about it.
Yeah. So you bring up kind of being the bigger guy and stuff, size wise, and then being from New Zealand and being of Tongan heritage. Did you ever face any barriers in the industry? How do you see those shifting now? And, being kind of not necessarily the, leanest or the scrawny kid, you're, big dude, you get cast for chiefs and commanders a lot, do you feel like do you think it's trying to figure out a word this. Like, do you feel like it's almost like, is it weird that like, you don't really ever see like the big guy get the girl in a movie? You know what I mean? Like you've maybe seen it like twice.
We love watching beautiful people.
Yeah.
We love looking at beautiful people.
But like bigger, like either big guys are always the funny guy. You know what I mean? Like they're never like
The stereotype. The stereotype. The stereotype is changed.
Yeah.
Right. From a Polynesian perspective, I think what Dwayne and Jason and Cliff Curtis, they're the international actors that are of Polynesian descent that are out there just burning trails for the rest of us, right? And the image of what Polynesians have, we're big people, as Tongans, Samoans, it's our stereotype profile. If you look at us physically, we are in the contact sports arena around the world, bro. But we're in your football, we're in rugby.
Yeah.
But physically, we are a very masculine, large race of people, Yeah. And the origins of that are from the Pacific Islands, in the Micronesian Islands, in the Pacific. When I was coming into the industry, for me, I didn't see many Tongans in the industry, if any. I knew that I would be one of the first to come out there and just share my heritage. Because I'm a New Zealander, a very proud Kiwi, but I'm also of Tongan heritage and I'm very proud Tong. But I also have a lot of shortcomings in my culture where I'm not that good at speaking of the speak parts of it, right? The view that Hollywood has on Polynesians right now, if you look at the landscape, Jason Momoa has TV series up, Chief of War, which is blowing up. Yeah, right. And shedding a lot of light on the Polynesian community. Yeah. And the world gets to see that because this is his story, the Hawaiian story, and its interaction with the rest of the world at that time. Right. Dwayne has put a lot of his culture out there and filmed his movies. And then when we did Hobbs and Shaw, he took it back to Samoa. And I remember talking about how massive that was for a lot of my Samoan friends who of DJ since he was a wrestler. And a lot of us who loved wrestling more supported him during that time. And then when he came out and blew up as an actor, he just kept building on his, took us with him. Yeah, but from a Polynesian perspective, in the 90s, I'd see him and go, that's one of our own, right? I'm of Tongan, I'm a Tongan, but just to see another Polynesian face out there. And, all my Samoan friends just we'll go TJ out. They even tour. It was a Samoan Kiwi boxer, Samoan heritage, teamed up in the ranks, fought about Lennox Lewis in the final fight, which I thought he should have had another rounder, he would have knocked him out. But Mark Hunt from South Auckland, he's from Mangere, was a huge, went and dominated in every fighting arena that's out there. And, with Polynesians contributed so much recently to the modern world and its sports and within its media and film and television more of the brewing. And that's what I see Cliff Curtis out there playing other ethnicities in Hollywood. Yeah, man. For me, I don't see myself anywhere near up there, but I'll be more than welcome to jam. But then, is you ever had the chance to act opposite because they are also, they're fireblazers. And I'm, very proud to be one of my Tongan heritage and two, a Polynesian that's out there in Hollywood that only does. And for a plus size person, because I'm getting sick of a lot of these people judging, there's so mean out there, bro. It's so tough. It's so tough out there. So I just choose not to read it and do the mocap.
But there's that rare story or that rare movie where the big guy will get the girl. For example,
But then
Well, like Baywatch, even the reboot of Baywatch. Did you ever watch that? The funny fat guy got.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like,
Like, well, they're beginning to diversifying in their writing, right? But like I said, at the end of the day, diamonds still glisten, right? Right. Like we are a culture that worships beauty. Yeah. We are a culture that worships beauty. Yeah. Right.
it just makes me wonder, like, if we saw more of that, would we start to look at beauty in a different light? Would we start to say, oh, okay, like it's bringing someone's humor, personality to like the forefront?
Well, listen, there's nothing wrong with it. Because that's the fairness. Sure, right? Like, but when I look at what I think is beautiful in my craft, it's beautiful acting. Right. That's why I look up to certain people. Right. That's not, which that was Marlon Brando. He was beautiful to look at, but he changed the game. Yeah. Like, and the older I get as an actor, I look back at some of the actors that I enjoyed watching, the De Niro's, the Pacinos, the Nicholsons, Daniel Day-Lewis, Gary Oldman, and now Christian Bale. I just booked my makeup person before, and he was telling me he just was telling Christian Bale's here, and I was like, bro, what's he like? What's he like? And then when you hear cool things like, oh, he's really down there, he's cool. I'm like, yes. There's certain people who I know in the industry are just cool, like the way that they hold themselves. I like them even more. So that type of beauty is important. Yeah. But in terms of physical looks, we love to worship the seriously. That's why when a striking person walks into the room, you can't take your eyes off them. Yeah. Wow. Right? And then there's layers so beauty is the first thing for me that catches the eye. It's like having game, and then you work the levels towards that and see how far you can get. Yeah. And for me, Hollywood is based on that first interaction where you look. I understand there's a lot of actors out there who have distinct features, and that we'll start talking about cast type, right? That's what I was talking about with cast type. Like, I'm a big person of deep voice, and I'm brown, and what could I usually play, right? If I'm skinnier, maybe I could touch on going towards a good Latino look. But with the composition of my eyes, I've got a Southeast Asian look, and then my size, I'm Polynesian, so navigating ethnicities in this industry is tough as a Polynesian as well. But that's why PJ is in the success, and Jason Momoa and the success of other brown Hollywood stars open the door for us who have been in the industry for as long as I have to still be able to get work, because now we're becoming something that people want to see, right? More. Yep. Come on, totally again. Missed the question, but I did drop some gems, I reckon, man.
So you, like, kind of going back to our friendship, you have there was a couple points where that I remember fondly, that you really kind of opened up to me. One point was one point was happy, one was sad. One point was when I came to stay with you when you were initially shooting Moana, and you were reading your lines. I think it was before you had started shooting, or it was like right in the beginning. But I remember we were sitting there watching Aliens, and you were reading your lines for Moana, but you couldn't help but quote your favorite movie while watching it. It made me laugh hard. And just for example, like you were sitting there like reading your script, Moana. You can't leave the island. Get away from her, you bitch. Like that one.
I say that line. I usually do.
I know. It's like, what are
17 days? I don't want to rain on your parade.
Yeah.
We're not even gonna last 17 hours.
Yeah. I mean, it was just so fun to watch you do that. But then also, another way that you opened up to me at one point was when you were really down, and we were talking over FaceTime about, you were kind of getting at the end of Young Rock, and you were really upset because you had lost out on Shotgun Wedding and Fall Guy. And that was kind of a lower point in your career. And you were like, you and I were talking personally about like, just, it's like, man, is this even worth it anymore or whatnot? I'm just kind of curious, when you get to those low points in like your mental health, and it's like, you just kind of wonder what it's all about. Like, what were you feeling in that moment, but also like how you get through the darkness? You know what I mean? Like, how do you go?
That's what I was saying before about some people on social media and young actors, right? That's Those are the times I'm talking about here for deal. It's those times. It's a lot of people come over and they ask me, "Oh, John, I want to be an actor." And I'm like, "Why?" And they're thinking of the red carpet. They're seeing stuff on social media and on YouTube about, and they want to be part of that glim, that fantasy. That all eyes are on you. You're up there, and the flash is out. You hold there, ain't easy. And I sit there and go, "That's what you want." You're asking me, "So do you want to be an actor for what?"
Yeah.
Right? Do you want to come into this thing and play characters? That's a good enough reason. Is it for money? That's still a good enough reason because it can pay if you have the right hustle.
Right.
But if it's for attention, then I'm like, okay, then you need to understand how to translate dialogue off page and into your body and voice, and then build a character off that. Then you have to ring to another person. Then you have to understand the dimensions of acting, right? You understand what's the frame? What cameras are they using? Where's my mic?
Yeah.
All right. Like, how do I use this prop? Is the prop going to be used in the scene? Why is it being used in the scene? Are you just filling up space because you want to move? Is there a purpose? What's your thought while picking up the prop? Is the prop even necessary to be in the freaking seat?
Right.
Or if you want to hold a gun, look tough.
Yeah.
While you're talking. What do you want to say? Swear word, or just emphasize the swear word in the one line because you want to be. But I've seen it all before. So for me, those times when I'm there, and what he's talking about is, I've come close to some big projects in Boston at the front boom, and I go back to my life and feel like I've failed, that I'm not good enough. Because sometimes you're like, the breakdown, depending whether you got a good agent or not, is whether, are you even right for the part? Then you ask yourself questions as soon as say, am I good looking enough? Am I skinny enough? Am I too old? And like, there's this whole spiral of insecurity that starts to creep in. And that's why I keep telling these actors, you just weren't right for the part. And if it was something personal, then figure it out and find out what it is. But there's no amount of bribing that's going to get you the role unless you. No, there's none. There's none.
Well, and as a consumer watching Wolfless films, it was honestly one of those things where I felt like personally, I was like, well, I think, either God or the universe or whatever's out there had his back, because Shotgun Wedding wasn't great and Fall Guy was shut off halfway through.
I didn't say that.
I'm saying it.
That's cool because I've also been in movies that weren't good. So as an actor, I'm like, of course, but the money would have been awesome.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to know whether that thing? How do you know? Ask any famous actor this question. Did you know that your movie was going to be a classic? Right. But did you know that? There's so many factors that come into what makes something successful in the movie industry, right? There's so many. I've never been in a movie and gone, and I've heard everyone talking it up because there's some people on sets that like, this is going to be the biggest thing for a year. Like, and he's sitting there like, maybe. And I'm sitting there as an actor hoping that it is, because then I know I can snowball, keep getting roles, right? Because the moment I do one or two movies that really, really suck, right? Like, no one's going to want to hire me. So, yes, those are the tough times I talk about when you're an actor and you just miss out on a role, or you've had two callbacks. You come close, and that happens to a lot of actors I know. Every role I played in New Zealand, I booked it. I was up against some big heavy hitters, man. And then I'd walk into audition rooms and see certain people and go, oh, yeah. I've got a new friend in Cooper, and I'll be going up against them for a lot of roles. A lot of Polynesians that are in that B list here that I was talking about, I'll be fighting with them for roles too. We all get auditioned, yeah, right? But to stay in the set, I know a lot of people that I went to drama school with who are really better at the industry and who are going through, and I don't know what they think of me, nor do I care what they think of me now when they see me, and if I'm looking, I just, yeah. And that comes down to also, stop talking. Stop talking about everything, man. Just show them.
Yeah.
Show them.
So like we said, keeping your mental health in check is a big deal, because you don't want to get lost in the shuffle of, fantasy or your depression, either way. But let's talk about that a little bit. So you have a friend who you lost to his battle with mental health, Pua Magasura, Puana. Power Ranger fans will know him as the Red Ninja Storm Ranger, Ryoshi. What was your relationship with him like? And, what do you want to say about that situation?
Well, I talk about it was tough for me when it happened because I got a lot of his close friends. We all feel like we play back our last moments together. He could have said something that was but when he chose to leave us, I kind of saw his downward spiral. Not downward spiral because he was a perfect human being for me, but just the way he was treated, he really touched me off. And he,
After his death to me.
just during the process,
Gotcha.
I'm gonna choose the words wisely, of course. I loved him very much. It was a big part of me not giving up in the latter years of my career. Yeah, right. Not in these years. So we were shooting a film together, and then he chose to leave us, and I dealt with some depression after that. So some of the habits became a bit more severe in terms of how I was dealing with that. But at the same time, I'd learned to use that to actually go forward in my career even harder for them.
Yeah.
And shout out to Mickey Manasiva, who corrected the movie Tina, which just done really well for me. He mentions core there, really. I love it there. And Will Spirit shines down through that movie and like the Manasiva family. He was a Power Ranger here, man. I came in 2 years after him.
Yeah.
He was the first Samoan Polynesian Power Ranger in the universe.
Yeah.
And then when I came through, I was proud to say I was the first Tongan, but not the first Polynesian. I was the second. But I always put Paul up. He was a good friend of mine. And in terms of touching on mental health, this industry and the media can really drain you with their perspective and how they influence how the public can, you know what I mean? And this is the same with some of the, I was been talking to you for this. I heard some of your rangers and some of the comments that you guys made. I was like, once a ranger, always a ranger, right?
Mm.
Right? Yeah. So why would you say some mean things when someone has had to leave us? He feels that they have to leave us. You distasteful, weak human beings. You want to say some of the stuff that he chose to leave us, and that was it. That's the final statement.
Well, not only that, the people who were saying things online, the cowards, they didn't know the whole situation.
No, but not even that. Just like you took that moment and you made that his legacy.
Right.
No way. Let he who's without sin cast the first stone. Right? Right?
Yeah.
Hey, really pissed me off.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, I couldn't defend him, bro. And the media attacked him and everything. I had my beautiful wife and my kids and everyone was telling me, don't say anything, man. And I felt like I didn't do enough to say anything. But he was a good man. He loved his daughter. And he told his friends, I'll share this one story. So he was like holding a radio station, working on the TV series that he was in. I don't even mention that. And I wasn't getting any work, right? But he still want to hang out with me. He still call me up, and I'm like, I don't hang out with those people. He's like, Frank, you're still one of the best actors I know, and you're also. He didn't have to. And I loved him enough to also. And he wouldn't have a problem with me. He had a problem with me. Because that's what brothers should be like. Yeah. Nah, I think what we learn from that is to talk more to the people that matter in your life, not the people you want to impress. Yeah. If the right people around you, choose the right partner. Choose someone that when you're in the, like, just the people that you can call when you're at your worst, they're the ones that keep going. That's the line drawn for me. Sure. Everyone else, like, hey, yeah, like I said, man, I've been up and down in this career, and I can see everyone for their truth. And I'll just hold up a mirror. And the people what I've learned from Core was that this life is short. And I also, I just don't have the time to be fake nice anymore. Yeah, that's what I learned about this industry. And if we're good, we're good. If we're not, then that's cool. Just stay over there, or you can get it. Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah, just leave it with respect and love. I reckon that's what I try to stay away from. Stay away from mean people. Yeah, war is a man. Yeah, and I think we should always remember. Like in our Ranger community, we've had what 2-3 suicides already. Can we talk? Are we going to talk about it, or are we just going to talk about it when it happens? Right.
So we've had 2 suicides. We've lost three Kiwis. So Kua, and then Udana's actress, Peta, and then Alistair Browning, who was later in the series. Yeah, voice actor. He passed away. Oh, yeah. And then, Jason David Frank committed suicide. He was one of the originals and reprised his role in New Zealand season before you leave.
That's what I mean. When I heard his passing, all I could speak on was just that he was a fellow Ranger. I shared the jacket with her.
Right.
We had to wear that jacket together, and that's all I could relate to. I didn't meet him. I don't know him as a person.
Yeah.
I just know that the community love him.
Yeah.
And that he deserves respect. They don't do that.
Yeah.
That's simple. That's the thing. Some of these other Rangers, I see them at the con. I don't get that feeling. It's just like, I'm not there to take your money. I'm just there like you guys. But if I'm working and you're not, is that my problem?
Right.
Right? Go and do you, man.
Yeah.
Just be respectful. If you don't like it, you get it.
Yeah. So you mentioned talking to Kua and, we're getting advice and being friends. We talked just briefly. His season, Power Rangers Ninja Storm, was the first, also the first Power Rangers season to be filmed in these meetings when he's moved from California there.
He made from there and went back to short. His career just blew up.
Yeah. So, but when you were getting on Power Rangers, were you and he friends at that point? Did you talk to him about?
I always saw him in these circles. There's a few circles. The thing in New Zealand is this small country, small. Interested, and they're really clicky.
Yeah.
I don't really. I miss with actors when I work with them.
Yeah,
that's when I miss. Remember, otherwise I don't really
have
any circles. And I just said,
I was curious if you had talked to him about working in the show because it was still
I went to show with you, and I worked on. That's when I'm being under.
Gotcha. Okay. Which that came after your time with.
Yeah, so we were always joking about how we'd work with Koichi. Koichi was the second unit director.
Yeah. Which we just recently saw his wife.
Yeah. I was saying, that's right.
Yeah.
And I remember just talking to him about the direction, and that was the one thing that I hated before, is that we were both Rangers.
Yeah.
He was Red Ranger, I was a mentor. And there was, me and him were real jokesters. So he's a real funny ass dude, man. Yeah, I mean, there's not many people whose funny energy matches up with me, and then poor people off. I reckon bad. We got each other's jokes. He's helped me out a lot. We have my family who always try to love and see. Yeah. But he was an because I'm so passionate about acting. I always recommended him watch these movies and would have open discussions about it. But also, we're just friends, man. I never hung out with any of his other friends. And what I had with them was separate from an acting perspective, and we'd bonded on Shortness Troop because I went through some stuff on, with this other diva. So, and that's when he was just like, he was like, man, I like your wide variety. Like you got a mean ass, strongest monger. I was like, Uber.
So Power Rangers is like your first role, pretty much your very first huge role, or like, big reoccurring, not recurring, like casted role. It's a show. The first thing right out the jump, you're wearing this ginormous dog head. He's like 20 pounds in your head.
Well, the audition was a paper bag.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Done there.
Were you ever like, oh man, my first job, I've got to wear this head the whole time. I don't know if I like this.
You just went in to get the job.
Yeah.
It's funny now in hindsight, and I love hearing people in there. So many people are talking, post whatever show that they were doing, and they're revealing a lot of stuff from it. That's years ago.
Yeah.
By being mean, I've never dissed that process. So for me, the only thing that I was upset about was I remember I worked out so long to look a certain way, and then I was quoting just covering up the moneymaker, for the bag on, and I was lean as I was shredded, bro. And then I was wearing the suit, and then I go, well, why am I wearing a paper bag? And they're like, oh, we just want to know. And it was like dealing with the claustrophobia of it. Like, I don't know if psychologically they were doing it that way to see where I would go. To some people were like disorientated, but because I knew the character requirements for Doggy Kruger, I relied on my theater background and my drama school. I just finished playing Othello. So I learned about my Alexander technique and posture, so I just made Doggy really big and upright.
Yeah.
And then I created a voice. And then they manipulated it to how they wanted him to sound. Yeah. But then that's the other thing, because then they give you direction, not only in your acting, for your physicality, and with your lines, with your accent, they want it a certain way. So as a professional, you should be at that level. You should give them what they want, right?
Yeah.
And the best actors for me can take direction and make it work. And then if they wanted a different way, the scene to be played a different way, then do it a different way. Yeah, don't ask too many questions. Just trust the process and act.
Yeah.
Right.
That, so like the head caught on fire at one point, the big dog head.
Yeah.
Was there, were you feeling a fear? Did you try to get it off of you? Like, could you get it off of you? Like, what was that situation? Paint that picture for me.
It was hot, bro. Started getting hot and smoky, and then I sat up and I could feel it burning on my back, and I know I'll go head crap, right? Yeah, but it started burning my back shoulder, and then the smoke started coming, and then I was sitting up, and I knew that there's nothing, so I panicked,
So, like, you weren't in the middle of a take when that happened, or were you?
I'm not sure. My memory's pretty crap at the moment, but I remember trying not to panic, and then feeling the heat, and then just sit like it was burning my day. And then I told them, and then they were shooting air into them, just de-rigging me as fast as they can as soon as they got it off. But the story builds traction and gets a bit like it wasn't him. If I had did that, then there would have been what we'd be talking about right now, how I freaked out and dropped my nuts and started running on hours.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Right. Yeah, but that was it. I dealt with that way. It would go, and I liked it that production came up and they were like, man, in New Zealand, we've got this real tough attitude, right?
Yeah.
We're not a gun culture.
Right.
But out here, I know that if I'll piss someone off, they could take my life.
Yeah.
But back home, it possibly could happen if you run into the wrong person who happens to have you there. But it's very old school.
When I was in New Zealand, someone robbed a convenience store with a hammer.
Yeah. But it's not like the Wild West or it's bad. But I'm just talking about in terms of how we deal with interaction that could possibly get right out here. And we're up for it, bro. Yeah. And it's a Polynesian thing. It's a Maori thing. It's even the Europeans, the toughest, Caucasian brothers I know. Yeah. Those white boys I know are from South Auckland. Like they bang. And I sit there and go, it's just that it doesn't end with being shot. Yeah. So most families would know if you look at even, the way we play our sports, there's a very tough attitude about just getting it done. Like, we pride ourselves in, sorry, right? Like, you break your arm, makes a fishery. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's pockets of that. I've seen it in America, of course. See it in the movies and represent, but in terms of New Zealand culture, it could literally lead up to a fisticuff. Yeah. Right? If you lack speech, which is why it's important for people to talk, the moment you lack communication verbally, ultimately it will turn to violence. Like I've seen it growing up. I grew up in a tough well, not tough as in like it was a bad neighborhood, but tough like you had to be about it. Yeah. Look at the top fighters that came out the early 90s, late 90s. What David Tor, just knocking people out. Like Mark Hart doing that. Like that's why I'm a huge supporter of anyone from Southport. Sure. Because the rose can grow through rock, right? Yeah. So for me, people always say, "Why are you so proud to be from that area?" And I'm like, "What?" Right. We were all born with private school educations in Silver Spring. I'm proud to say where I've come from.
It's a part of you. You know, whenever people ask me, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Battle Creek, Michigan. I always followed up with, we invented cereal, and that's where Seventh-day Adventists started.
Right. The best rugby players, league players, Joe Normal comes from my neighborhood. Best fighters that come from my neighborhood. So I'm boasted about my neighborhood. And like some of the best actors came from South Rockland. Yeah. My thing is, I came out of my neighborhood. I went and got me an acting degree because I wanted to be able to say I can do your method acting. I could do your Shakespeare. I could do your Oscar Wilde, right? I could do these things that have been indoctrinated in what theater is. Like, when I left with that degree, I said to myself, I convinced myself, right, that this thing was enough for me to be like, and it was for me because there have been situations where I'm on a set or on stage and my training comes into it, right? Yeah. But I'm still hood, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's why I don't take disrespect lightly. Yeah. And when the older I've gotten, that's why a lot of acting friends have had to cut off because it's just like, I'm hearing stuff. If I hear anything and I've heard like a circle from someone who's like, yeah, man, why would I mess with that person? So I cut people off. Like, you got to keep the right energy around you. Yeah. You know how you are contributing to your downfall fast. Like if you have any player in your team it doesn't have the same vision as you. And I'm not saying you need to have friends who just support you and pat you on this thing. That's not that. It's a mental thing. We're talking about mental health. We jumped off the suicide message pretty quick. So learn to talk and communicate to the right people. Don't tell other people that you don't gossip about you. And it's hard to fish them up. We've got to shake all the dirt, all the rocks and the dirt and the crap fall out. They keep the diamonds.
Right. So, you know, you're working on Power Rangers SPD and Mystic Force, 2 TV shows, followed up by Charlotte Street and Go Girls, all for TV production. So you kind of get used to like the method of being in television. You're kind of used to scheduling and, you know, if you're going to make the day, how you make the day. But then you get Battleship, which is a film. And so I'm curious, you know, this is where you really start to make your transition from television to film. It's almost like getting a whole new job because, you know, there's a lot of differences in like your environments. What are like from going from television to film, what were like the biggest adjustments, like as far as like your environment and the timing of filming and pacing and making your day? Like, what did that look like? And how did you like the change? Do you prefer being on a film versus television? Like, what are the differences for you?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, I'd rather be in film.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love making movies. Yeah, I love the fantasy of being part of this thing that gets put on a big screen and you're part of that world. Yeah. Artistically, right? Like you're part of, like, that's that, but then that's the way I see my career, because I love making film. I think when you're in New Zealand and you're shooting like a lot of TV stuff and commercials and the idea of America as Hollywood starts is a massive toll. So a lot of Kiwis in Australia is, you know, pilgrimage to America to crack it into this industry, you know. But now it's all changed because you can shoot stuff from home, audition for everything and anything.
Yeah.
And hope, cross your fingers, and to book the all.
Yeah. Do you feel like the environments between television and film are completely different?
Things changing. It used to be. And it used to be. One was the film used to be looked at as bigger, but now with Netflix and all the reviews on people and watching movies at home. But honestly, it's always better. Right. I'm old school, so I used to go to the movie theater. There were single movie theaters. Used to have an intermission, right? One movie, intermission, come back in, watch the second half of that movie. And then once the movie complexes came in, you could do 2 or 3 movies in a day. But I think that's slowly changing now because, Game of Thrones changed the landscape, made it literally out of a movie. If you ever seen the movie for Dead Friends.
Well, and even like long form storytelling is like gone. You don't see that like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angels, Supernatural, Smallville. The 22 season series have now gone down to 8 to 10 episodes on Netflix.
Yeah.
That is such a huge difference now. It's almost like that's like almost the gap between television and film, because you're not necessarily telling a story. You're not like in this like semester format that you would be in long television. But then also, well, the film, you're kind of there for what, 2 straight months, 3 straight months, sometimes 6, 12. However, if you're making an Avatar film or, just a Disney film or whatever.
That whole curtain is gone then. Yeah, mystery and the weight and the suspense. Yeah, behind the movie dropping, you used to wait like 6 months to 2 years. When I shot Hobbs and Shaw, I was only on there for the latter part of the shoot. Around and say, yeah, as soon as we finished filming in January, the movie was dropped in May and June. I was like, well, that's a fast turnaround. Because I always used to think, well, why do these actors look older? Because of the age that they shot it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Some of the Battleship we shot in 2010, did pick up some 2011 and then released it. And the next year, get to the theaters, one is going to be okay.
That's something this is kind of just thrown in, but like, when you're on a film, like let's say, for example, like, shooting Moana, but then, you had to go back and do like, let's first say, like, for example, like you might have been doing like commercials for Young Rock or something, or, you might have gone on like a red carpet for something, when you're already in production of filming something else, or even 2 projects ahead sometimes. Is it weird to have to go, do you ever feel like you're going backwards? Like, oh man, I already kind of said goodbye to that in my head. Now I'm doing this thing. Is it weird to have to go back to promote it and get excited about it again?
Yeah, no, because I love work. Yeah, it'll be weird for sort of like for an A-lister who doesn't have to worry about money, right? And then can have the freedom to just do whatever they want. Yeah, pretty much. But for an actor who's working from check to check, not in front of it. Okay, so it's good. Yeah, weird in terms of timing, but it's already weird when you shoot your movie, because when you show up on set for the first day of shoot, you're never shooting the first beginning of the movie, right? Everything's shot out of sequence.
They call it non-linear films.
Yep, and it's all about shooting for convenience, right? Well, what's easy to shoot? We use one location with to shoot the last scene and the middle scene here. These actors have just gotten together. That's why sometimes they'll go back and reshoot that. Yeah. But if you run onto a TV series, you don't. And it's your first one, you're never going to go in and they're going to shoot it in order. Yeah. They'll shoot episode 3 and 4 and 5 at different times, and then you have to come back. So you need to know chronologically where you are in the script, so your performance matches that. And it's the continuity of your performance is consistent and good, and not everyone can do that. Yeah. And then if you're like, for me, I've made a mistake before where I came in for Battleship and I was overweight, bro. I was like 15 kilos overweight. It was my first rookie mistake. I was comfortable. I came home, ate out a lot. I didn't train as much. Like I said, I made some bad decisions. I thought I'd made it. The next movie's going to be calling up soon anytime. Yeah. And then I'm back on the conveyor belt running. Yeah. Chasing that monkey. Yeah. Chasing that banana. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to hear pain. You think it's easy, bro.
Well, and it's kind of on that subject. It's really funny. Just we started watching the Superman film last night, right? So it's like, I've already seen it, you haven't seen it, but like, it's funny to watch Nicholas Hoult doing press for, his Lex Luthor character when you could already tell he's already moved on to some other role, because he's got like bleach blonde hair as opposed to being shaved bald. So it's like, it's funny to kind of see just where people are at,
But you and I look out for those things. There are people now with technology that we have that look for those things. You have continuity and stuff. My whole thing is like, it's either the movie's going to be transporting me into that world, I forget about my normal life and I'm enjoying the movie. Yeah. But if it's so bad that I can see it, then that's really stuffed up at continuity, and someone in the wardrobe make it need to refire. Yeah. But yeah, nah. And then you all have a question. What was that?
Oh, we were just kind of talking.
All right, cool.
Leading, so going back to like Power Rangers SPD, playing Doggy Kruger, obviously you get to do both the suit and the voice of the character.
Yeah.
Your experience in this show kind of gave you that longevity to be to play Bolg in the Hobbit Meadow 5 Armies, and you shot some of the Desolation of Smaug. Having already been familiar with working in both television and film, but now you're this suited character in a film environment. Was it weird being in a, obviously you were in a mocap suit in that one, and then Doggy Kruger, you're in a real suit, being on a television show versus a film in that environment? Like what was that like, I guess, in playing that role, like comparing?
So I'm a physical actor as well. Yeah. Like I love doing, if I can do my own stunts and they let me, and they allow me to, I will, you know what I mean? Like, so all of that's play for me. Yeah. Because I grew up in a physical life, in a physical community, playing physical sports that, I wasn't good at rugby, but I loved getting in there and trying to smash dudes and you'd smash myself. You know what I mean? And like physical, bro. I grew up in an era where I climbed trees and played outside. My kids all play rugby league, younger than me and my daughter, like at a young age, so they can get, they can just get used to the argy-bargy, and they're not grow up fragile. And so you test their bone structure, see if your family's got good genetics, right? And as a Polynesian, we grew up in a very community-based thinking where family's there for everything. If you go to church, your religious beliefs, your these functions that happen, barbecues, big family gatherings. So with the Doggy Kruger, it was harder because I had limited vision, and then I had to remember if I looked up to look through the mouth, the dog will be looking up. So I needed to look down, and I'd see like maybe their waistline, and then there were factors I had to implement that would make him more real, that it didn't look like a puppet, right? With playing Bolg in Lord of the Rings, I had the mocap suit on, yeah. So I'm in the leotard with the dots, and I have a little camera there. So everything kind of had to be exaggerated, even the way I walked. And shooting it with like other stunties and stuff in mocap, your imagination has to be in full flex. Like you have to see the world. You have to see the Elder Shaman. You have to see the bulls that you're then attacking still in the army of men that I'm the leader of these orcs. So it was physical theater for me, and I loved it. Yeah, I loved being physical. Yeah. As long as my body can still move at my age, I'll do it until the day, right? If I can keep moving. So, yeah, there's no... Right? If I hear an actor complaining about a movie that they did this and that, I was just thinking, man, you're not working. And now you've got a big nut on a podcast. I'm do it. I think it was your Joe. So yes, I am, and I'm very proud of that. And I don't like having to be quiet about it, and then I don't need to have to feel like I need to talk about it. Right? I like love these actors. And I keep telling them, and I'll see Power Ranger actors, Power Ranger gigs and stuff. I'm always showing respect. I'm always about that love. We keep it going. Like, let's not threaten each other or feel intimidated. Yeah. Let's support each other. Yeah. And bro, everyone's on, like, there's this like frenzy of fakeness when someone passes or someone succeeds, right? And I've seen people in there. So that's why I just don't care anymore. Yeah. I don't care to try to be the new fad or be part of the new group, because at the end of the day, I think we're all hustling to get a foot up in life. Yeah. If you're an actor and you're out there, I'm always available for advice or comes with full.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, and it's also something to be said that out of the 200 and some people that have played Power Rangers, probably only about 5 to 10 have been successful in acting. Yeah. After the show. Oh yeah. Well, and I would say probably about 4 to 6 of those make their cooties, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Lex. Well, successful ones I'm thinking of offhand are you, obviously, and then you got Rose McIver. She's been doing all sorts of things like Once Upon a Time and Ghosts.
Oh, nice. The Rose.
Yeah. And then let's see, there's quite a few, man. Rhino Ranger from Jumbo Fury. What's that guy's name? Nikolai Nikolaev.
Nikolai.
Yeah, he was in Daredevil and Stranger Things, and
They keep killing it, bro.
yeah, man. So I mean, there's been a handful. Jared Turner, obviously, very successful.
Jared's on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. We're crabs in the barrel, too. So I think it's just that thinking like, yeah. But I always call it I don't know, it's just more like they think they know how you're thinking.
Yeah.
Because if they were in your shoes of success, they would probably behave that way.
Right.
So if I don't act the way that you think you should act if you were in my shoes, then I must be doing something bad. Like, I don't get it, bro. But listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that I had seen some people from my year of acting class elevate and me going, how would they get that?
Yeah.
They were trash back at school.
Right.
But then I'm like, the more I've grown, I've seen how immature I was when I was younger. Like, that's why I'm thinking, I'm glad that I started getting a break in my late 30s and 40s, because I don't think I was mature enough to deal with the go when it hit me, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have self-imploded. Yeah. I would have turned my addictions into something I wouldn't have been able to deal with it. I think starting to deal with the pickup and gratefully that my career, at my age, I'm still able to work. I've learned to deal with that attention and navigate that arena better than if it had me young. I was self-employed.
Yeah.
And I think my marriage has a lot to do with my stability, because I'm pretty reckless sometimes, but a very, very supportive wife who I love very much. Just and my kids keep me grounded, because that's where I miss a burn. Just my kids. You already know. Like, when I video chat with you, I've got my baby on my chest. And then, now that I've got to go around the horn again, she's 1 year old. Yeah. 14 months now. And I feel I'm trying to be a better father than I was when I was younger.
Well, you got lucky because you got good kids. Like, they seem genuinely like they like you, like you're cool. Obviously there are probably times that I hadn't seen or know that, had arguments.
It's both.
Yeah.
I'm in both. I try to be. Listen, now I'm faulted, man. I've had my own personal traumas in my life I grew up with. And that's from family, that's from friends, that's from betrayal, that's from dealing with the successes that I've had in this industry. I've seen some of my best friends, bro, change because of my success. So I knew that once they stopped celebrating me and started putting these little hateful vibes in their jokes and stuff, cut them off.
Yeah.
People I've worked with that I've known for 20 years, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. Like, are you that lonely that you need to keep negativity around you? Like, and I'll notice that with actors too. And some actors, that's why it's tough being, unless you have a circle of actors that like champion you on all your failures and all your misses, and you have this tight. And there's a few groups out there that I see. They're the ones that keep rap. But I've seen some dudes that I've studied with, and in my face, bro, disrespect me by being disrespectful with my wife, or I find out that they've said something. And even if I find out and it's not there, and I don't even have to, if I feel that, I get, they're my circle. Yeah. There were guys that I just worked with that I thought we was close to, and then I'm hearing people say, my man, he was dogging you at this one thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to see him on set tomorrow. They're gone. Right. And they know who they are. And they know where I live. And can get it too. Like, for me, I don't go to acting functions because I can't fake it, man. Right. But if I do go to anything, it's to support the community. But sometimes I don't want to go there to get any attention. So I wear hoodies everywhere. They don't say I'm anyone, bro. That's the word. I don't care.
I get that.
Because let your work speak for itself. Not. Because you just don't need to talk it up so much. Because there's so much stuff out there where people just advertising themselves. And I'm sitting there trying to find out, like, are you making millions from this? If you are, then that's your hustle. Out respect. Yeah. Just save something for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious too. So from The Hobbit, it's almost like you're on this upward trajectory, and the next thing is Star Wars. This obviously looks like something that's going to build your brand even more and be this crazy thing. But then I'm just curious about like the excitement of getting Star Wars, but then you're seeing your part got cut from the theatrical release. Do you feel like it was worth it?
12 guys, nada.
I mean, were you disappointed? Like, what went through your mind after seeing the finished product and you were there?
It's good. I went to the premiere.
Yeah.
And, I'm still credited for it. And my solo scenes are in a deleted scene compilation, which is out there for solo Star Wars on YouTube.
Yeah. But I'm just curious, like the up and the down of it, because like you get Star Wars. You get, holy shit, it's Star Wars.
I know. But I get to work with Woody Harrelson, Randy Newton. I got to shoot with, the coolest, that's what I mean. I took away the credit for that I did work on that for a few months. When they cut it out, I did anything that was really hurting was my ego.
Yeah. Did you know that they had cut it before it came out? Have to see now.
They told me that some things have been cut out, but we can still go send it out. Oh, okay. And when they cut that out, there was mainly my scenes with some of Tandy's as well to keep going, because they felt that area was distracting from the main story. And I get it. I just took it personally because I was just like, man, that's the thing with this career. Your victories and your crises are so close that sometimes if you do get a victory, you stay out there and you keep climbing. The quiet time is the crisis.
Yeah.
Where you've got a few offers, and if you don't take them, and then you got to make that decision. Should I take it for money, or should I take it because I'm passionate? But if you're like already set for money, then you can focus more on passion projects and things that you want to take, right? But if you're on the balance of just, I need to build, I've got to stack these bags, and sometimes you take it for the money, even though you don't know where it's going to go creatively. And I've done that a few times too. But for me, with solo, it was like creatively and as on my status in terms of I was back. When I did Battleship, dude, a year later, I was getting a food grant. That's what no one talks about. How I feed my family and everything's still hunky-dory, right?
You're getting a food grant?
I'm getting a food grant. What is that? That's like you go to social services, get a card back.
Oh, it's like Foods Habits.
Right, okay. Right?
Yep.
And I remember standing there collecting it, and I came back, and I knew I had, we had breakdown in my wife. Being the champion that she was, just like, you need to be able to deal with the quiet times. Then that's what I'm saying to these young people. Like, how passionate are you to pursue this thing? And I don't know if people say if you have a backup plan, but like, how do you still create a way of living and still chase this thing? Yeah. Because if you're not getting it, you need to start creating with the right people. Start thinking in that the right, because a lot of people come close. I know people for 40 years have never slept on any Hollywood set. Yeah. And I've done that like 8 times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've done it a few times, and that's why I'm always in there. I like being quiet about things. I try to be, so that I don't go through that disappointment. Because solo was the big one there, where it was just like, we filmed, did my scenes, had a dying scene, where I was in the hotel standing up looking in the mirror, trying to, because I knew that Woody Harrelson was going to, like, he had the scene where, like, he takes off his glove. I throw my eyes open.
No.
And then when I'm lying there like that, he goes like, how do I rehearse that? Because, like, you know how hard it is to not naturally react to being touched, right?
Right.
And then, I'm sitting there, and I'm always seeing if when I see someone die and they close their eyes, or they're still blinking, or, right, I'm watching like this. And I practiced it so many times, man. It was weird, because I was like, and then the first one he did it, and he closed like one eye, and that's I was sitting there. Man, it was, and as a good actor that I think I am, it was one of the toughest experiences. Yeah, trying not to. And then I remember bits of like rock getting in my eye, and I'll blink out.
Yeah.
When I look at the take, I'm like, I barely see my face anyway.
It makes sense, because death is truly one thing you can't practice for. I mean, you can practice crying because you can make yourself cry. You can make yourself laugh. You can figure that out. But death, that's it. It's one and done.
Or try doing a record, and then, I don't know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You practice it enough.
Yeah. Well, so from there, you then go to working with Dwayne Johnson. Not once, but 3 times. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, Young Rock, Moana. does this make you feel more secure in your career as an actor, being on so many projects with Dwayne? And, did it make it difficult then to work on other projects?
No, that was awesome. Yeah. And when I was on, I get to keep working, I get to keep jamming.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Did it make you feel more secure in your career, being able to work under this?
That's the thing about this industry, is it's so easy to feel secure. Man, you're in your 3rd season of Young Rock, right? Yeah. And then it's just like, and then there's no 4th season. You're in your 5th season of Ozark, and then there's no 6th season. Yeah. Right. So somewhere in between season 1 and season 2, oh man, this money's good. Yeah, I've got the series, and it's so easy to feel and get complacent, right? Like you feel like you sit there, this is the life. And then it's gone. And then you're going to burn through your savings. Yeah. Right. I've seen it. The amount of people who I've seen leave New Zealand with hey man, I'm off to America. Yeah. And I go, I've done there. Like, I'm available. I'm right. You shoot off. And would I have arrived, bro? I burned through my money over there chasing these pilot auditions, not even getting into the 2nd stage. Yeah. We come back with that. Like, most actors, especially the ones who think that they're 5-star actors in our little community, nah, they're just normal people. They're normal people, everybody. Yeah. They just happen to work on this contract and performed for you in this. And, yeah, so when I see you guys at these, Power Ranger cons and stuff, and you come up and, I sign your picture and stuff like that, I just want you to know that for the past 4 years that I'm there, and I don't speak for the other Rangers, I speak for John too, that's for 5 years I'm doing this, I make it a massive thing to make sure that you leave this is to everyone that's going to see me, you leave my table feeling important. Yeah. But you've met a person behind the Power Ranger costume. I'm no one important, man. Yeah. I am an entertainer. I just happen to be an actor who's worked not only as a Power Ranger, but on some other movies. And when I'm in front of you, taking your money, right, and you've come to see me, you just know I do appreciate it. My family appreciates it. And I will look you in the eye. And I don't want you to feel like you're in the presence of a superstar, even though you are. But you're not. The reality. It's all about love, man. Yeah. That's the Polynesian way.
Yeah. And, it's interesting, kind of going back to what you're talking about with, like, it's there and then it's gone. I mean, you can even kind of see it with Ash. Like, this is the example I was even thinking of. Like, you watch Ash vs. Evil Dead, right? You watch the 1st season, think, oh, okay, they could have ended the story right there and it would have been fine. You watch the 2nd season, same thing. Yeah, you watch it there. That the way that story ended, it seems like it could have been fine. 3rd season, it seems like they got really confident with the series and they left it way open for a cliffhanger. Show's done. We had no idea what happened to Ash. And it's like,
they just left it.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's one of those things where it's not about first example of it. They don't know.
No, but it's also a true example that, like, man, sometimes it is about you and then sometimes it isn't, right? Like, the producers might have a fallout in the show. Like, I love reading what's behind the scenes stuff now that's available to me on socials, like what happened to this, what happened to this show, what happened to this show. And then I used to always read, why did these 2 actors? And I've gone through it, man. I've gone through productions with me and another actor just don't zing, bro. And then, it gets weird. But some of my best acting has been dealing with these people, right? Yeah. Right? Because, there's some divas out there that don't need to be acting the way that they do. Because we know who you were.
Saw 11, Twisted Pictures. They couldn't get a script down. There was an argument between 2 scripts. Ended up scrapping them both. They sold the rights to Blumhouse. Blumhouse gave it back to the original creators. And now they're going to be taking over Saw 11. So it's an interesting way how things evolve. Like you just said.
It's Saw 11?
Yeah.
Saw was up to 11 movies?
Yeah, so the final chapter was number 7. They did Jigsaw, which was number 8, which was kind of like an in-between story. You guys see a little bit more. And then 9, which was Spiral, terrible, as Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. It was weird. And then Saw 10, X or whatever, it was like the story between Saw 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So I know, speaking with people who've worked on the film, I know that they regretted killing off Jigsaw in 3 and 4, and like those movies take place at the same time. But then, so now it's going back to its original creators, James Wan and Lee Winnell. They're going to take over 11 and do something with it. But anyway, yeah.
Man, I wish I was onto it with the horror genre that you're passionate. I really was. I would love to see you in a horror movie, dude. Give me in a horror movie.
So now you just wrapped on Moana. That was the whole purpose of actually you being in the States this summer, was wrapping on the film.
Yeah.
Without having to give anything away, like how do you feel like that film went for you, that experience, and where do you think this will take you in your career from here? Like, where do you see it going? And obviously it could go in either direction, but where do you see it going?
I have no. All I wish for it is for it to do well.
Yeah.
And that we've told that story. Yeah. To the best of our abilities, with the actors and the director and everything that I had seen when we were shooting it. Yeah. Where do I see it going?
Now, where do you see yourself going?
Where do I see myself going? And bring just into the next. Yeah. Just on to the next, man. I love playing characters. I don't call myself a character actor, but every time I get the scripts, I see what I can do with it. Can I bring this character to life? But I think that way because some people want to be so cool and think that they're bigger than the story or the script, and just tell the story.
Yeah.
If all of you who want to be actors and stuff, like you're going to imitate your favorite actors. I get it. You want to imitate all the cool things you've seen on TV. And it's just like, but I think what stands out the best in defining you as an actor is what you personally give to the role. Like most things that I've been casted for, in their minds, they've chosen me for whatever qualities that I could bring to the character, and I did it in that read. Yeah. And then they might get you with the other actor who might be the lead, and then you read with that person, and then they watch you, and then they're like, well, these two have good chemistry. Let's take it a bit further. Yeah. This isn't something that just happens overnight. This is a process. Yeah. There's a pre-production process to film and television that none of you see, nor care about, nor would understand what it takes to bring some of these stories to life, And sometimes I do not fit in that jigsaw puzzle.
Right.
Like, for example, when I was shooting Baron Thor, I was reading for Fritz, which was played by the other actor.
Yeah.
And then when I'd gone and filmed, I wasn't sure. I'd come back to the director, who I was a friend of mine, we both graduated from Unitech represent. And they said they wanted to talk to me. They've recasted Fritz, the character. And I was just like, in my ego, of course, I'm like, with who? With the help it will do a job than moi, right? And this is where artistically I surrender, because I think, well, of course. And they were like, oh, it's with casted, we like to get to play first, and we want you to play the Baron. And I was like, of course. He did an amazing performance for him. A lead actor in the debut, Polynesian act for me. And I got to play with 10 minutes plus of playing Baron, this role. And of late, I'm more recognized for Baron Thor than I am for many of the other characters that I've played. Yeah. But I've done the same work with Baron that I do with every other character, the same way. Yeah. I look at the story. How does this character come across? What's his intention? How does he fit into the storytelling? So, yeah. It's such a massive process that I can't just tell you by, you have to go through. Yeah. And anyone who's auditioned and memorized lines the night before or on the day and gone in and read will understand what I'm talking about. And everyone else?
Yeah. So with Power Rangers, there's a big chunk of your job on that series where you have to provide ADR, the audio digital placement. I think this stands for it. but then your next several roles, you don't do regular ADR what you did for that. You're mainly on camera, and then you know fill in any audio gaps. But then for roles like later on that happen way later than Power Rangers, roles like Mortal Kombat and Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
Was it hard to get back in the booth and stay in the booth after not doing it for so long? You know, did you take what you learned in doing ADR for Power Rangers into these voice roles? Like, how
Yeah. I felt like it got me more confident.
you're Malga in Overwatch 2.
I'm Naga.
Cabal.
Overwatch.
Then Cabal. You play Cabal in Mortal Kombat at some point. We're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, voice, you know, for example, doing Rangers, I got to really perfect mine, you know, because the energy. Yeah! Get over here, Commander Kruger. And then I'm RJ with Silverman. Like, I don't have the best American accent out there, but because I have a few cheats and I think my charisma is more, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be the best at everything, but you have to have levels where it keeps you like as interesting as possible. The way I see it, this is my perception. So for all you book learned actors out there, yeah, go do it. But so for me, it's just like I had to. For Commander Kruger, he was like this militant, and I based him on. I already told people this, but I'm telling you for those who are familiar on this podcast, like I based him on General Patton, George C. Scott's performance of General Patton. I gave him that weight. And then I played another character in that year called Sergeant Silverback. So I gave him a real thick Southern accent. And I based him on, it was Lee Ermey's performance on Full Metal Jacket and me. All right. Well, I just took that energy because like I love that movie. It's Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. And then when I did, my second season, I did Mystic Force. Dagron, I based on Russell Crowe. On Gladiator, you know. I just try to do something different every time. Yeah. It's not about doing something different, but it's about making it real.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's fun.
Because I know a lot of really intelligent, book-learned theater actors that can't do it on screen.
I'm going to say that's the podcast name, right? Let's be real, though. Some gotta be here. But now when you started doing voices for Cabal and Malga, like where did you get your inspiration there? I mean, with those voices?
Oh, they were just like, he's Samoan, as you see in Darwin. And he's, just the way they described him, I was like, yeah, no, I think I know what you want, bro. And they went and did it. And then they'll give them two different versions, and then they'll choose.
Yeah.
And we go with it. And then I'm with a team of people doing these voices.
Yeah.
Because I used to do jingles anyway in New Zealand and do a lot of radio stuff.
It's funny, you and I haven't even talked about this outside of this yet, but I took a picture to even send it to you, but I played Overwatch 2 for the first time. Any Overwatch, I played it for the first time last weekend.
Yeah. What do you think?
Horrible. Like I tried it. Like and I was saying the game is not horrible. I'm horrible at playing it. So I chose your character, and I was running, and I was like, all right, it was like me one-on-one with the guy. I didn't even get a shot off, and then all of a sudden the game quit, and then went on to like this other level, and I couldn't be your character anymore. And I'm like, why did I even choose him? Like it just like stopped after a minute, and then so I didn't really understand it. So I was like, well, all right, I'm not gonna feel like putting this
Not for everyone. I didn't play Overwatch. So, and I love doing Overwatch. The experience was also, but I don't play. No, I barely. No, I didn't play nothing, man. Just arcade games.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in one time capsule, bro.
Yeah. I remember I aged out of video games after, because I'd beaten both Metal Gear Solid, the first one and the second one. And then the third one came out for PlayStation 2. And I couldn't get past like the first level or something. And I'm just like, okay, wow, I guess I'm not a video game guy anymore. And that's when I just kind of started playing Mario games. And that was it. You know, I'd played Mario games from like Nintendo systems forever, and Halo I could do, and Call of Duty, but no.
Yeah.
It's interesting game and stuff.
But it's not for everyone, bro. But like, I want to do more games. I love doing voices.
Yeah.
Even for Moana, I've got to sing. Yeah. And I didn't call myself a singer, but.
Oh, you are a really good singer. I've heard you sing.
I could hold a note.
Yeah.
right? But in Moana, they really pushed us to make sure that we could sing. And then I did my best to be. Yeah. And I've turned out a performance I hope you'll like. Absolutely. And if you're looking for a big, middle-aged, brown, handsome, hairy fella, I'm your guy. But I do a lot of jingles at home on the telecom. 0800 34 34 34. Yeah, well, that's some rant, and when I was doing Power Rangers, and I got familiar with how to tone my voice to certain things and stuff, and then so it became second nature of the book.
Your work on Paper Champions. I love this movie.
Thank you.
The hilarious.
Really?
I laughed so hard when we talked. Our good friend Tom Turner, or goes by Tom Ranger on Facebook, but he and I both talk about how hilarious this film is. Did this make you want to do more comedy? I mean, it was different than what you.
Paper Champions was we did a short film called Ray, which check it on Vimeo, it's out there. And from there, the writer, director, producers got more money, and they did Paper Champions. And that was tough to be. What people don't get is after my friend left us, when Paul left us, I straight away had to go over and shoot this movie. So I went over there, and I wish I could have been over. There were so many. But you go through that in your career where you look back and you go, man, I could have done better in that sort of. I ever, booked there. So they say, Paper Champions, I enjoyed doing comedy. I'm glad to thank you, Luke Saliba, and his team for casting me in it again. And then I had fun with these guys, and they're Australians from Geelong. So they were shooting Geelong, and fell in love with this Australian crew and the actors over there. Yeah. And I got to really flex my comedic chops, right? Yeah. And I've grown up always wanting to do comedy. I naturally like to laugh. Or like some of you serious twats out there. Like I've always looked to try to find a humor in everything, because there's just so much misery out there. It's like you need to laugh. You just need to laugh. Yeah. Some of my biggest influences in comedy, what's his name? Jim Carrey, Eddie Murphy. Man, I grew up watching Gene Wilder and what's his name? One of these sharp ones. I love Robin Williams. Robin Williams is a great example. Rest in peace. Yeah. And another actor that's had to leave us way too early, Seymour Hoffman. Yeah. This is rife in the industry, right? Yeah. And not just for sorry for space jumping back, but every time it's because you mentioned that actor, I was just sitting going, success to people who always want to be the red carpet and the famous body. There's a whole reservoir of feeling and emotion, right? But there's a lot that we deal with in this time and age. Yeah, it's very tough.
Well, because you're right though. You think it's weird because you think of Philip Seymour Hoffman, you think of this like big Academy Award winning or nominated or whatever, the actor. He's been in so many great things. My thing, and I feel like I quote the most with my friends, is his role in Twister. Like, I mean, he's so funny in that.
He was demanding. His acting and everything that he does, I couldn't take my eyes off. Yeah. So him and Robin Williams were just Robin Williams and Ghoul hunting, but just everything that Robin did with his energy and so people were like, oh my God, I didn't know it was like Ghoul. You Kelly? But his output was so intense. Yeah. Everything's intense. We just don't know what's going on. I've done stupid things while I'm on alcohol or whatever, right? Like, and then regret it. And you borderline like stable consciousness when you're in some of these states. Yes. If you're a person who is high in terms of like work ethic and intensity, that's in everything, man. But rest in peace to all. What I'm saying is that success is not always like, you know what I mean? A lot of people are, but they had money. Yeah. They don't get it. But Paper Champions is the comedy. I want to get more comedy. So
Paper Champions. So that scene, the funniest part to me in the scene is when you're teaching the guy how to dance. I mean, that was just
really.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Thank you, man. Like I don't do comedy to try to make people laugh. I feel that the characters are enough. Yeah. The over exaggeration of Ace Ventura was just so over the top, but he was hilarious because his timing was perfect.
Yeah.
And all the little sayings and things that we relate to as our generation, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if you play it now to these guys, they don't get the Spock jokes. They don't get, if they're not Trek or the Star Trek, because there hasn't been golden images, right? So for me, it's, I want to do more comedy.
Yeah.
Like, then I think Paper Champions was a glimpse of where I could go if I had the right script, the right team that we could do. And I'm not talking about being the leading man. I just want to be part of a great acting team now. Like, because I'm only as good as the people I act next to. And I've worked with some pretty bad, self-centered divas before, right? Who just think about themselves.
Yeah.
And don't initiate the other actors because they're so full of themselves.
Right.
And I don't say that as if it's a claim to certain people. Like, I'm just saying, this is my experience, not yours. So I've dealt with these people on set, and I sit there in hindsight after I go, why did you even have to be that way? Right? What was it that you were, and I can name names, but I won't, because I want to be another click thing to be like, this dude's complaining about this actor. I'm just, everything I talk about is from my perspective, because I've done it, right? And if you haven't done it, then listen, but then you're going to judge because you think you could do better than be my guest. Like, hurry up, they're waiting for you, Dan.
Well, even on the subject of comedy, it's hard because comedy today is almost become like really taboo. I'm really hoping that The Naked Gun is the movie that brings it back.
Oh, because, I mean, I love names in me.
That movie is, you haven't seen it yet? That's so funny.
I love the originals.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm really hoping that this is like a rebirth of comedy. And I get these days comedy can be so, I get it because we've gotten more sensitive to other things. We can't be as open and honest. A lot of these kind of jokes, they only kind of fly behind closed doors at a comedy club. Be able to see a lot of the super bad, the Pineapple Express, the Cable Guide, a lot of it's,
they're all triggers. They're all triggers. They speak on things, and they might address some of the social climate that's happening. So that's why they get blacklisted and stuff. But I think comedy's the last freedom to be able to take the piss out of certain things, right? No matter what it is, you got to have tough skin. So, but if we're allowing so much hate to be shown out there, right?
Yeah.
And we should be able to allow the comedians to do what they do.
Yeah.
Within reason that it's not a personal attack.
Right.
But you can't stop, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get on there. I know you guys, like you guys, when you're talking about politics to the person, but in these internets, we can openly have that discussion where hopefully break your heads or bias.
Well, it's because Americans, I might be putting somebody in a box by saying this, but from what I've seen, Americans and other people who are very political, they like to put you in a box, and they say, if you say, like, I support this person, then that means that you support that.
And you don't support me.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest part. It's like, there might be one thing I want out of a presidential candidate that I don't want the three, but there's other things. But it's like, I can't just pick and choose what I want from the person. You know what I mean? Like,
but then no one's ever going to take your whole list.
Right. I mean, you could have a person who likes weed and guns. And it's like, that's two completely different political spectrums. The conservatives are more for the guns. Probably the liberals are more for weed. But it's like you can't be, it's almost like you always had to pick one. It's like, pick a high.
Pick a team, man.
Yeah.
Pick a team. And if you're not on our team, you're not with us.
Right. And that's honestly one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is because it's like, at the core, we're all just trying to do this thing called life. We're all trying to just exist together. And we should be able to come together in community and just be able to live as well.
Bro, that's the utopia fantasy there, man. I think from a foreign perspective, in a country that's part of the Allied forces, and I like to say, like, our community, to America. I just feel that change needs to happen from within. Yeah. No exterior forces, whether it's on a mass level or whether it's on an individual. Yeah. Right? I can't bash. What happens in America is America. Now, you have to grow up through American system and look at your beautiful country. Love it in a way that wanted to stay. Be number one for you, true. And I think there because there are a lot of good things for the world. Yeah, at Creole past. We've learned by watching it. New Zealand's a very young country. And I'm trying to awake in terms of, and we deal with our bicultural, where we're in. And there's a Pacific influence in New Zealand now because New Zealand and Australia are part of the Pacific. The same as America, Japan, like the ocean is what links us. Yeah. But you will find a way. Yeah. The country always does. And we will watch avidly. Throw love across the Pacific Ocean to you guys.
You know, one of the most provocative things I've ever heard, it was like this question that was asked at the end of a finale once that it just really took me back because I was like, wow, that's really something to think about. The season 5 finale of Supernatural, the angel Nisha, or the angel Castiel, Clay Benish Collins, Dean, his brother had just fallen to the pit of hell. He was possessed by Lucifer and fighting Michael through their half-brother. But at the end of the episode, the angel Castiel is asking Dean Winchester, the brother. He says to him, what would you rather have, peace or free? And you think about that. That's like that's a game-changing question because it's like, wow, like the two really aren't necessarily the same because peace, everybody agrees, everybody gets along. Freedom, everybody has their own individual beliefs. They keep speak and think freely. But what I say and think might not necessarily be the same as what you say.
But we could still have unity within our diversity.
Right. So there's a big, what it comes down to is finding that healthy balance between peace and freedom.
Bro, everything's a balance, and you want to throw certain virtues on that, and then we can get on another path, right? But life, I know you're a Smallville fan, the Sword Hunter series up there. I'm sorry, guys, I never jumped on that series.
That was actually a quote from Supernatural.
But, oh yeah, well, that's also an interesting question because pose that as a question. Freedom. To be freedom they want, or I have the freedom to be a dickhead. Is that the right that I have? Then that's not going to be peaceful. Like, Corey, you do have the freedom is good. Free to do what? Like, freedom and how to be free is always up for the individual. Peace. Sometimes peace means that you're quiet and you watch things happen that you shouldn't be peaceful. Yeah. We can go philosophically down this and I can debate about it, but yeah. I got what he meant and I got what you meant.
Yeah. So let's from that point basically just take it. I'm going to take you into my 4 wrap-up questions. Now, Katie and I asked these questions to our guests onto a couple of the slates together. I think they're great talking points and I would like to ask these 4 questions. Go. They're personal questions. If you don't want to ask them or want me to add them out, I will. But the first question I want to ask you is, people come to you all the time at cons and signing and say, dude, I'm such a huge fan of Power Rangers or Hobbit, you're my hero, this, or, your work is my pop culture religion. That's what I live by. Is there anything, any IP, any musicians, anything, what are you a massive fan? Like, what is it that you're like, oh, dude, I would meet that person in a heartbeat. I would get that autograph. I'd buy the physical media. Like, that's my world. Like, what is that for you? Like, in media?
It'll be to work with some of the legends that I revere, the ones that I love. I'd love to work with a list of about 5 actors. And I've been fanboy over many. Fanboy over my wife and my kids are amazing. When I was younger, I always, when I met someone who was famous, like, when I first met Rihanna, I freaked out. This young girl, was like right next to me, and she was famous, Barry. I when I saw her, I don't know whether she was famous or anything.
Well, I know you're also a huge Aliens fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I'm cool now. So I want to work with De Niro. I'd love to work with all the my childhood like legends, right? Yeah. Daniel, like even Sylvester Stallone, like I said to the video through the PA, while he's working in top secret. I am an avid fan of film and television, actors that I would love to work with. But I'm also a huge fan. Like, Aliens to me was, like, I remember being 12 and just fanboying out about this movie. It's one of the movies that made me want to become an actor. If I was Charlotte back then, everyone always says that, oh, you know, because you want to become an actor. I'm like, well, come on now. Like, it's got to be a few things, right? Yeah. But Aliens, man, I used to imitate it. I made a gun that looked like, I quote all the lines. I have a group of friends that are from my generation. We know every line of that movie. Yeah, and Predator come out, and it was like the old action hero, bro. Like, muscly, big arms, like guns. Boy, yeah. But yeah, Aliens, there's so many.
Yeah. So when you're not busy working, you're not busy in conventions, and now I feel like I have to ask this question in two parts because it's different pre and post Monet. Your youngest daughter is a year old. But what does a day in the life with John Tudor look like, and what do you do for fun? Again, pre and post baby.
Pre? So pre, everything's for the kids. And then I'll have a few auditions, and everything's for the family.
Yeah. But if you're in like your time, like to where you don't have to worry about the kids, they're good. What are you doing for fun? Like, what is your fun?
Bro, I'm so conditioned that it is my fun.
That's fair. That's my heart.
It's so fun. I love watching my boys and my daughter do the things that they love.
Yeah.
So as a parent, I've always just supported them 100%.
Yeah.
If she's doing dance, if they're playing, I love going to the trainings and stuff. And the weirdest thing is that the more I recognize I'll become, I don't watch their games anymore by normal parents stand down by the sideline, and I stand away because I just don't want to deal with idiots, bro. I don't want to deal with people like, oh, that's that actor's son or something. Get take his head off. You know, like people are mean and loud on some of these sports events. And they don't mean it. It's not even about them, but they make it about them because they want to be loud and heard.
Yeah.
Well, they want to be loud and heard, showing their love, but they're causing disunity, and like it gets ugly. Being a store parent sometimes, or what I see. And I remember when I was coaching, I was loud. Yeah. But like lately in my career, I've just gone a bit more recluse and a bit more quiet. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I don't want to be in here. And that's what I do. For fun, I run around after my kids because I know at my later age now and having this baby, just appreciate them before they leave. Huh? It's a simple word. And now that I've got a baby, but then the life of John said, bro, I wake up with my girl, we hang all day. It's heaven, bro. Yeah. I serve this baby and my wife and my kids. Yeah. I know it doesn't sound like much, bro. Tell me about your day.
Yeah.
Who you are.
Right. Okay, so there's no wrong answer to this. Judgment-free zone. Answer as much or as little as you'd like. Or you can feel free not to answer at all. So, what are your views and experiences regarding ghosts and the paranormal? And do you believe in aliens or other life forms?
Oof. I do believe that the spirit does travel. You will be very selective for what I say here. And that there is a next world. Yeah. I don't believe in ghosts. No, I don't either. And purely for the fact that, if we looked at the history of your country and now the blood that's gone into this earth, I always cracked out the core movie years. It's like, is it just white ghosts? Yeah. The black ghosts, they can come back. It's unjust, right? Even in the next life. I just don't believe it goes to I have a different faith. Yeah. Why? And so I believe that if, and the movies make it that if they couldn't harm you in the real life, they would harm you in the afterlife. That doesn't. But in saying that, right, I know people that believe it so much that they will see it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you believe something so much, you can manifest. Yeah. I really truly believe that. So for me to say, this is me, I don't believe in ghosts. But here's the funniest thing. And everyone who knows me knows that I'm scared of the dark. Okay. Because I watched Alien when I was a kid. I saw Billy Chop Suey and John Hurt had the chest buster. Yeah. Like, there were things that I'd seen as a kid that traumatized me. So I make up in my mind there's something in the bed. I don't like the closet door having an opening in it, or a gap in the window, or a gap in the door. Because I've manifested that has become you get what I'm saying? Yeah, I do. But in terms of ghosts, I don't believe them. Yeah. And that's just it. And aliens, in terms of aliens, I do believe. I do believe that there was the arrogance, the entitlement for me in my flesh form as a micro or an organism on this rock to go, I am the only life form here and so are we. And you look out into space and you know that light has traveled how many hundreds of thousands of years to get to you. And then there's nothing out there. Makes me think godly when I shouldn't. You get what I'm saying? I am a speck. I am a speck. So I believe that there is other life. I'm not going to go into controversial things, or I've had some weird experiences where I'm like, what does? You know what I mean? It's like deja vu. Have you guys ever had deja vu? Like, have I dreamed this one? Like, yeah. Is that like my view on aliens is, yeah. If other entities of life force or more beings are out there, right? The same way I don't know what's at the bottom of the freaking ocean. Right. I just look at space and this boom, bewildered amusement and wonderment of what's great and big out there. And this is going to trip me out when I say it to me, right? And it's in that curiosity of not knowing what is out there that I find God.
Yeah. Well, that was actually a nice question. You know, the afterlife, where do you think go from here? Do you believe in God? Like, where, how do you feel about that? And again, answer as much or little of that as you can, but that was my final question.
I'm a God-fearing person. Yeah. I grew up in the Tongan Christian faith through my father and my mother in Methodist church. I have family that are Catholic and Mormon. So I grew up in the early stages. And then my parents raised us in the Baha'i faith. Yeah, man. And I grew up in that, and I had learned so many different principles. I saw the world differently. Yeah. I saw the manifestations of God, Buddha to Muhammad to Jesus, in a different life.
It's interesting because I just, before you continue, so before, there was a point in my life before designing and all this stuff that, I wanted to be the philosophy major. I was a philosophy major, but focused on both religion and paradigms.
Yeah. So you
got to know, I know the Baha'i faith is like a sector, a cult of like Hinduism, and
I ain't political.
Well, so so that's a lot of people the word cult is misinterpreted. Like when someone says cult, it's almost like a trigger. You know what I mean? But the actual definition, there's 3 different definitions of cult, and one is just it's an offshoot of a world religion. So it's not. I'm not saying cult in a derogatory, offensive.
Of course, no term, but that gets put on my eyes a lot by the other major orders. Yeah, this is the second most world distributor in church. I don't know how many neighbors it has, but it's beautiful. But it made me appreciate my Christian friends. They're more in understanding of their love for Christ than the other one. Made me understand the Muslim perspective there now. Sure. The Buddhist perspective. And, even though I don't practice it, I love all my friends and family that are Baha'i, because my mother was the first to do it. She was ridiculed for believing in Friday. And this is the love I have for my dad and the respect I have for my dad, because of our autonomy and their marriage is that he actually investigated, which is a principle in the faith, investigate the truth for yourself. There's no need for a clergyman talk to be translated, or you could find these scriptures and read. I'm never talk about religion on any platform. I've been very careful about that. Why? My appreciation for a lot of the word religions and from my understanding from your life. And I, as an individual, am not a spokesperson for any of the religions. Sure. The influence that it's had on my life has changed my life forever. So, a lot of my family grow up in the Tongan community, or either go to church, or we're very community based. A lot of the Polynesians, when they go to sit, or they're brought up as, and through the faith, I would really learn to see the world differently. And that's what I mean, that we had this discussion, like you could have gone down the track, literally become a minister. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you are faced with the decision whether you do give your life to that. And I always believe all religions have a beautiful base that stems from love and fellow man and growth of the spirit and growth of the family unit and its worship.
Yeah. Well, that's where it got hard for me, is I didn't like seeing the weaponizing of religion.
Well, see, now man did that.
Yeah.
Mankind through time and the powers that be, who are the power holders at the time, can influence that to where it becomes this. But I truly believe that the core of a lot of the religions teach something very simple. If you immerse yourself in those writings and give wholly to that and with love, if you lead with love, but if you're using it to devalue another human being, because the hardest thing for me was traveling and seeing poverty in other countries and not wishing that on my fellow, anyone that I had poverty to, I truly believe that fanaticism becomes something apparent in religions when they need to force their beliefs on you. Force your beliefs on you. When I feel that the person who preaches the message of who they're following and who they love should be taught physically. Just walk it. Some of my best friends are avid Muslims, avid Christians. They're staunch, and they just don't even try to convert me or nothing. And I see them and see how they hold themselves in their marriage. I see how they hold themselves when they deal with people. And I go, that is a good, righteous, religious man out there. And wow, what an awesome representation of your belief. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think religion is bad. I think it has been used as some of the biggest rules we've had in our history on this planet to be religion or love or disagreement. So I think we're at a time now where communication is so rife. I just think we're nearly there. And I think we need to go through some argy-bargy before we all hold hands and give each other a cut out.
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, in everything that we have, every religious group has a faith in it. They don't necessarily have it as a defined truth. And so it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard for me to tell you that my truth is the absolute truth and your truth is the absolute truth, where,
Well, I don't think it's hard. I think a lot of people are used to doing that. Right. They're telling you that their truth is, but I think automatically you draw a line. Right? You've already drawn a line. That's authority, what I think. So for me, I think actions do speak louder than words against that. Because if you walk there, it's just like somebody who plans and somebody brags about what they're doing and stuff, right? Oh, easy down. I think it's so easy to cause division over disagreements than it is to find a commonality there. I can see the good in it, right? And that's where the poverty starts. If already, if someone knocks on your door and they want to share some type of belief thinking, and like you're already on the defensive. And then it comes down to mood. Do I let you win so we can debate this thing? And then the debate becomes who wants to win, right? I think if you look at the source of, even when Krishna taught love, or when Buddha taught love with isolation and thinking in oneness, like I can take everything from either one of these manifestations of God and make it something that they can be core to me. But I think you cannot separate your human soul from any type of religion, because you can connect. There are some ways that I think kind of like, as opposed to most of them, when it comes to respect and marriage and stuff. But then forgiveness, as Jesus taught, is very important. Otherwise, I just keep holding my trauma and we're not moving on. You know what I mean? There are so many things that you can learn from all these manifestations from God, but to stick undeniably to monkey, of course, face fanaticism. But I don't want to speak because, like I said, I am a sinful person. I'm not perfect. I'm faulty. But I'll try to be the best husband, best father I can be, and best friend I can be, and the best brother. But you know what I mean? Like there are so many hats. Well, I got to tick before I even stand on that mantle and clean myself. Anything that it is. But I do believe in a higher power. And I read the reason why that's important to me is to fear God. You call it the unknowable essence, God or the Lord or whatever that is to you. Having that in my life, that allows me to lower my ego. Yeah. Having something great says, I still pray to something. Yeah. If I hung you on for, most people, if I put in a life and death situation, like if here's the saying, I love them, then the brothers, right? There's no atheists and foxholes. You're talking to some, like, even if you're talking to your subconscious, then maybe that's your own idea of saying, if there's anything out there, please, if I get toward this. You know, I think the closest I get to God sometimes is at a birth and a death. Yeah. And I go to funerals, bro, and I've been going to a lot lately. I had these moments where I'm like, the time's coming for me. So where do I, where's my core system belief going to from here? When Moana was born, bro, and I was rushing to cut the cord and then go to a flight, right then and there in their room, when she took her first breath, God was there, right, guys? Because I was praying, please, that it deliver her pregnancy. Is she going to come out normal? Yeah. And that's where me as a human, like, I think I become a human being in its rawest form. Or in a tragedy, but like something when
You're still aware of your mortality.
100%, man. When I'm I'm seeing death slowly take a friend of mine, or I'm, afraid I've lost from my sister when I was a kid to see my granddad die, and I was like a kid, and I'd seen my brothers choke, like getting hit by a car, friends dying, car accidents. Addiction, and then going to high school, and suicide was a massive thing. And I'm part of a man. It's for young people, and so for me, I look at life and I go, I hope I see the movie, and I do want to see the movie, and I believe I will see the movie. So my thoughts on the afterlife is pretty much that I do believe. And I believe he's good in everyone. Like I try to see the good in everyone, and I think we become shy. We become mean people, and ego comes up. Like I've seen that at the highest level of this industry, and at the lowest. I've seen people come, and I've seen people go. That's why I like on social media now. If I'm in the mood to something that's on my family, I always like, hey, what are you? And I'm like, this is how I feel.
Well, I just went to my 20-year high school reunion 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And on the table, remember you for that, and on the table, we had, I think I want to say all 7 of our classmates that had passed away. And it was really hard to see that because it's like, I remember in different times of my life when these people died. And I went to probably 3 of those funerals, 3, 4. One guy, I remember pretending that a moist towel up with a condom when we were kids. We put them in our wallets. I remember this other guy, he was like my rival fat guy, and, it's graceful, underswole. And we'd have to joke about who's fatter, what I mean? Like, oh, how much do you weigh? Oh, how, all these little memories that came back. Now it's like, this person's not here to share this, like that guy isn't here anymore. That beautiful girl who was popular and everybody loved, and her husband loved her, and, she passed away last year, and it's very interesting to see all of that. It's like 20 years of people that you've lost, whether you're close to them or not. They're not here anymore. They're not here in this room. Yeah. And it's interesting in those moments, like I said, feeling your mortality. I'm staring down the barrel of 40. To you, that sounds young because you're, 10, 12 years older than me. But for me, it's like, I'm rounding the basis. I'm going to be 39 in less than a month. And it's like, that means that I'm going to have to get my first colonoscopy in a little over a year, things like that. And it's like, holy shit, I'm looking at like the next decade, the next chapter. And it's like, wow, I'm getting closer to that. I'm getting closer.
It's a good awareness. And I don't think it's people like you thinking about the afterlife, and that's true, right? But then something to think about you need to tell is when you're sick. Yeah, but I think I've been around it, and then my daughter, like I said, I was gonna dabble in some PEDs, some performing enhancing drugs for that role. My ego was like, man, I'm gonna look as jacked as I can be, bro. I'm gonna like just like I'm starting to look awesome in this movie. And then when Monet was born, I looked at her and went, "Oh no, that's a move. Yeah, I got to go around the horny. I'm 50, bro. This girl turns 10. I'm 60. I've got to be able to still bend over and pick her up, bro. Want to be able to run with her when she starts to play her first game, or when she's at a dancing recital, and she's like, Dad, be my car, I want to be okay. That's why I keep moving my body, bro. And, and if I had jumped on PEDs just for this movie, it looked shredded, and I put my kidneys and my, even my orders and at risk, I was just not worth it. When I threw it up right there, I got maybe 15 good years in my acting where I can go and still be mobile and stuff. And, I've heard about, I hear a lot of stories and gossip out there. And a lot of the older actors is just, they fall apart, bro. Yeah. And a lot of, when I look at the fitness world, because I'm I grew up, Arnold changed the game for me, bro. And I think, when I'm growing up in the 80s and 90s, for a lot of us, in the hood, it was like, you got a bench press, and if you're lucky, a boxing bag, and then, or you just spar with the boys, then you do training and go play rugby. We did all of that stuff, not knowing how long we're going to be on the set. And some guys, I buried friends at 15, 16, bro. Yeah, I one of my best friends, but beaten to death, and they're changing my life. And I look back at some of the points in my life where you could have made these decisions and hung with this group of people and, really fought to get here or travel to this place. And I look back and go, it's about choices. Yeah. Right? And what you do at that time is harder when you're younger because you're more reckless. So I have a strong relationship with your children, because maybe I should have gone through that trauma and not you, so I could come back and tell you. Right? But I'm still dealing with a lot of my trauma in my way, But my kids are, you're not sheltered, but I've given them the best that I can so that they can be better parents for their kids, and carry my family name as far as that was, but back to faith. I truly believe that there should be, if you're going to be a wellness person and you're going to be, I'm going to eat a certain way, to look a certain way, and that's the physical take here. I think the mental is something different. As I have my own mental battles, but I have avenues where I have the right, like me and my wife are connected. I love her so much. She's everything from, then I have the right people around me, which helps with that I can vent to and talk to about certain things. Because not everyone can take you. Like, how open I am. Yeah. I really like to speak. And if we disagree, that's cool. I'm not going to get fisticuffs over it, right? Yeah. But we should be able to, as friends, that's where the trust comes in, to disagree to a point where, like, I don't agree with you, bro, but I'm going to respect because that's how you feel. Cool, now you know how I eat this pizza or what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I have friends like that in my life too. So
right, yeah. And they're the ones that are saying to you, "Hey man, you should chill out. Like it's all good. We'll stop doing this."
Or I have to tell them, "Hey, let's chill out." Like, I get that you're very passionate about what you believe. I feel like you're kind of coming at me, like attacking me or as like a weapon. And it's like, I get that you don't believe what I believe, but hey, we're still friends. We still have common ground because you and I like these things, and let's focus on that and stick with it.
It's an ideal thing. Yeah. It's an ideal thing for any friendship and relationship to be able to do that, to be able to detach from your core belief. Your conditioning makes you think that way, and now we're going to have a disagreement. It's just like, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because I hate finding out, hey, you think like this?
Right.
Man, I don't know if we can hang anymore, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got a friend that's like that.
Yeah.
That's like with I think everyone's really oversensitive about what they, and then I go, like I say, this is going to sound, but if you lead with love, bro, I tried it. I'll give you one chance. I'm going to be nice. Yeah. All right. There's only two ways to go from that. You're either going to you're going to reflect that action to me and then start building on that, or you're just going to be, and trust me, I've eaten with the peasants and I've hung with presidents, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I go, I can read, if I put you in a room full of millionaires and billionaires, they will let you know that they're millions and billionaires without even having to speak.
Yeah.
Right? If I put you in a room and like you're with some some real thugs, and you're gonna know where you are. Like, for me, it's just like you learn to navigate, but lead with love. Like, lead with being nice.
Yeah.
Being nice is so important. And some of the biggest actors I've worked with, as I'm impressed with Dwayne. Like, for as big as he is and as large as he is as an icon, I've seen him at least, he's nice. Like, you know, the amount of people that aren't even near his level of fame, and just absolutely people that are just ungrateful and work, or when they finally work, they believe that this is the way you should behave. Yeah. I've seen them, bro, and I've seen them come, and I've seen them go. Yeah, it's not easy, but just lead with love.
Yeah. I think that's a good spot to end, man. I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, bro.
Is there anything you want to plug, promote, just say to the people? Let the people know what you got going on.
Hello, kid. I just I hope I've entertained you with my work. Be nice. I'll see you if we see each other later, bro.
Indeed. Certainly. Yeah. All right. Hey, and there you have it. That's my interview with John Toohey. I hope after watching this and or listening to this that you just got more of an insight into John, and just we pulled back the curtain quite a bit there, and we really got deep, and we got real. I mean, that's seriously the point of this show. This is why I started the show. It's so we can have real life conversations and talk about things that matter to us and that have affected us, and also talk about the good times, talk about the fun stuff that we've been through, and really just have some laughs, and really just doing life together, and what life brings into every one of us. It really meant a lot for me to have him over and have him be my first in studio guest. That's a memory that I'll forever cherish. His son, so I saw Cooper Andrews from The Walking Dead and John are really good friends. They're both Polynesian guys. Same with Sam. They all had these fish hooks, and I always thought these fish hooks were awesome. And I told them, I was like, gosh, I would love to have one of those. And it can only be given to you by a Polynesian. Well, when they showed up here, in Detroit, I picked them up in the airport. I had ironically given Keon a necklace for his 21st birthday. And John then says, by the way, and so he pulls this fish hook out of his backpack and hands it to me. And I was so ecstatic. But not only that, it wasn't just a gift from him. It was his son. If you can't read it, it says Keon on it. So basically what they did is they made these for the cast and some of their family members. And Keon, his son, was sweet enough to give this up and give this to me as a gift. And they both basically gave it to me as a gift together. So for that, I'll be forever grateful. I'll wear it till the day I die, or the day that it dies. There, falls off. So, but anyway, again, thank you guys for being here. I am going to start throwing my socials up just so you can get acquainted with my pages, so you can know where to find me. So you can find me on YouTube. If you listen to this on podcasts, you can find me on youtube.com / Let's Be Real though. Just no weird spellings. That's just how it's spelled. You can find me on all podcast networks at Let's Be Real though, on your RSS feeds. Get it wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, whatever, however you listen to podcasts. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram under Let's Be Real though Pod, and you can shoot me an email at Let's Be Real though podcast @gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you if you guys have any requests for guests. If there's somebody that you have a guest that you would maybe want me to talk to and just have a conversation with, or if you yourself, if you're listening to this and say, hey, I wouldn't mind coming on there. The show isn't just for celebrities and people that are in the acting business. I want to talk to everybody. I modeled the show after, just people in other shows that, I've seen people have interviews with people like their friends and their doctors, as well as celebrity guests and such. So, that's really what I want to bring to the table, is just to show that we're all human and that we are all here on this earth just doing life together. But obviously you can tell my studio is also full of horror stuff. I'm a huge horror movie fan, and my wife and I actually, we have another podcast called The Couple That Slays Together. You can find us on our socials here. I'll put those up now. But we'd love to have you guys if you like horror movies, if you like watching reviews on movies, or if you like to watch unboxings, or we do, celebrity interviews there as well. We've interviewed the original Jason Voorhees and Eli and Sasha Craig, who Sasha Craig was also a Power Ranger, but Eli, of course, a writer and director of Clown on a Cornfield and Tucker and Dale versus Evil. And then, of course, we've talked to my friend Brittany Morales from The Purge. So all sorts of goodies on that channel if you guys are into horror movies and such, and you can contact us there. That about does it for today, guys. And I really just thank you for stopping by and again showing support to me and my channel and my podcast, and also just for opening your eyes and ears to hearing what John Toohey had to say, and just hear about our friendship and things that he's been through and such. And so again, guys, thank you so much for being here, and I'll catch you in the next episode. And hey, don't forget, just be real. Just be real. Have a good day.